There's something in the world that's pretty hard to believe. And it's undergoing a bit of a rebranding. It's like a continuously rotating tourbillon. Once the hand reaches the end, it's back to the beginning. In 1518 AD, there was a dancing plague epidemic in various European cities, including Strasbourg in France. The woman suddenly started dancing right there in the street, and everyone was drawn to her with her infectious energy. One by one, everyone joined in and danced the night away. Just a month later, almost half the town had died from the madness of the dance. In 1960, in Massachusetts, anyone who looked into the eyes of a straw scarecrow froze in place. People who saw them said they were slow and stiff. People who saw those who succumbed to this phenomenon started to develop similar symptoms. In 2005 AD, there was a case of sleep paralysis involving a red-eyed puka in Tokyo, Shibuya, and a local high school. The school's students had a collective nightmare about a spider with red eyes. Later on, they started experiencing other symptoms like warped limbs, dazed eyes and dislocated eyebrows, and tangled arms and legs. The next day, there was a gas explosion at the school, which destroyed several buildings and caused a lot of casualties. In 2030, the red moon ray made an appearance. From that day on, people were completely unhinged. They were fighting and biting each other like walking corpses. They wear human skin, but they're not really human anymore. The world was gradually falling apart. This guy's name is Lu Xuan, and he lives in this world. He's just an ordinary guy trying to make a living in the rebuilt city of Satellite. Even if he works 7 days a week, he won't earn more than 1,000 yuan a year. But compared to those who are homeless or have lost their loved ones, he's a very happy man. After all, he can always count on a warm welcome at home. His parents and sister are alive, but his father was a very strict man. His mother also had a bit of a dislike for arrogant types. But there's a happy, harmonious atmosphere in his family, for the sake of the people he cares about. No matter how unstable the global economy is, it's important to try to earn money, to become a successful, wealthy individual. He followed the woman into the unknown. He gradually started working part-time, taking on roles that were perhaps not the safest. I just want to make it clear that there was nothing illegal about it. Just being in some less than pristine locations, getting rid of these unusual creatures. It was like a mutant humanoid tree, or creepy kids, or even a giant queen of a horror city. He saw it as a way of making some quick cash on the side. He wasn't planning on unraveling a global conspiracy, the one that started all the mutations and panic discovered in I when he looked into the abyss beyond the red moon. Keeping an eye on them all, the city was shrouded in red moonlight, which meant the virus of spiritual pollution began to spread faster. People tried to live as they had before, hidden behind high walls. But their natural distrust and sense of estrangement kept them at a distance. Fortunately, there is a glimmer of hope in this isolated community, family. And it keeps him toasty. On a lovely evening, Lu's mother was telling the girl on the phone that what happened today was not okay. Try not to let her get angry. Sis Lu was sitting on the couch watching TV. But then she remembered her brother, and asked her mother why he was coming back so late today. The mother was telling her daughter that she was trying to get hold of him. But here she was telling the girl on the phone that the style of her gray cardigan was a little outdated. How could this girl say it didn't suit her? The mother said that she didn't actually say that, but she knows that's what the girl is thinking. But she just wants to hear that she's forgiven. It wasn't very nice of her. Lu stood at the door for a few minutes, unsure of what to do next. But he had the nerve to open the door and say he was back. When she heard the door open, she was overjoyed and shouted that her baby brother was back at last. Lu let 17 know that the bear she'd asked for was there. He got it for her. The girl gave him a hug and said he was really cool. When she hung up, she said, Lu Xuan came back just in time. Let him play with his sister while she went downstairs for a while. Lu asked his mother what was going on. Weren't they planning to have dinner together? His mother picked up the scissors and said it was nothing serious, just a slight misunderstanding between her and their neighbor, Mrs. Zhang. His mother told Lu not to worry, and that she'd be back soon. Lu said he was going to have something to eat. His name is Lu Xuan, and he works at Qinghan from 9 to 5. Now he's enjoying a relaxed, friendly dinner with his family. He has to admit that his family is a little unusual. And then his father slammed a glass down on the table and said that Lu was a lowlife. He had the nerve to die in their kitchen. No matter how you look at it, you can't digest it, his father said. Lu looked at him and didn't know what to say, because he was his father and the head of the family. But at that time, a police car was parked outside their house with its sirens on. My father said it was very noisy. And how are people supposed to have a quiet dinner in such a noisy environment? The kid's father came out and said that the special branch hadn't been able to find anything. They can manage everything on their own. Then the girl pulled her brother aside and said she was really scared. Lu reassured the girl that everything was going to be okay, and then her mother appeared in the room. The mother asked her husband what he was shouting about. But then Lu noticed that she was covered in blood again. She said she could hear the man in the hallway. The mother said the same thing every day, let him stop scaring the kids. But then the father told someone to piss off and called him a bastard. The man stood at the window and shouted for them all to die. But then he turned to his wife and said he wished she was dead too. The mother said that, according to the father, everyone should die except him. But then the father turned and asked her what she'd said. His mother said the issue was that he was the only one forced to survive as a sewer rat, while others were doing quite well. But surely he understands that. Even if they all die, he doesn't. And then she saw his fist coming at her, and she fell. The man told her she must be looking for a bit of trouble. The mother stood up and laughed, her voice as fierce as ever. And she called him a scumbag. And then he lost his temper and asked his wife how she could dare to call him scum. And he said he'd kill her. The girl was hiding in a corner and said that her father had hit her mother again. But here she showed a different side of herself, and thought it was funny. She was laughing and climbing the walls, as if it was all perfectly normal. When he arrived, Lu found a mess and pools of blood. He said this is his family? It's a normal, comfortable home. Despite their occasional disagreements, but in this world where red moons are a common sight, having a complete family is a real blessing. But he didn't think anyone was watching him from the other side of the house. The girl said he was the only person in the room at the time, but there was movement from other people. She said that if that's the case, nothing will work. The guy said it traces the power of the mental mutation observer. The leader of the group asked if this guy could be recruited. How big of a threat do you think he poses? What are his abilities? The girl said it's not clear until the end, but he's unlike other mutants. In the early stages of mutation, his form is too strong. On the outside, he looks just like anyone else. He goes to work every day and gets on with it well enough. But he does have the odd mental blip from time to time. The head said that sounded like a promising lead. He wondered if they had already made attempts to take over his mind. The girl was quick to reply in the affirmative, but after the creator penetrated him again, he never managed to get out. The second day was pretty much business as usual. Everyone was happy to be alive and got on with their work. In Lu's own office, there were lots of people. He told everyone to look at his new colleague, who he said would be bringing new people into the office. The old man said that his job was already pretty tedious, and now he had to teach others. At least he won't be kicked out as long as he's teaching others. The girl said that, of course, everyone is trying to find a better worker, and they are being unfair because of his background. Lu, who's new to the company, went to see Lu's brother and said he was having an issue. Lu said that Lu is new here and still learning the ropes, so it's okay. But then the boss called Lu Xuan over because the principal wanted to see him. Lu said he'd go to the principal's office, but Louis should just write down what he said. Once he got to the office, the director told Lu to pop by the cafe on Xinjiang Road with this document. He should try to get there as quickly as he can, but make sure he gets there safely. Lu took the document and thought, shouldn't this be handled by the admin or business departments? Why did the director give it to him? The director was acting a bit strange today. Also, the girl sitting in the chair seemed very familiar to him. The girl asked Lu what he was looking at. Lu froze, wondering why he was staring at her. Lu smiled at the principal and said he'd just been to drop off the document. The director closed the door behind him and told Supervisor Chen that he'd done what she asked. He told her not to worry, that he wouldn't ask too many questions, but that it was a project. Chen put on her glasses and told the principal not to worry. It wasn't any of his business. The principal asked what she said. Let's give her a chance to help. Chen put him in the chair and told the director to listen to her. Let him forget about her being here, and what she had asked him to do, and in a moment she used her eye to recruit the principal. And the principal mumbled that he hadn't seen her, and no requests had been made. Lu went to the subway station, because he thought it would be faster, but once inside he saw a lot of people. But there was also a pregnant woman who stood to her feet, and told the unborn baby that they would have to stand. Lu stood up and told the girl to sit down. But then she was surprised that the boy gave her a seat. As she sat down in the seat she thanked Lu and said he was such a nice young man. Lu smiled and said it was okay. After driving a few blocks, his little sister came up to him on the subway. Lu thought, and how did she end up here? The girl said she was having a lot of fun on the subway and swinging on the handrails was so much fun. But suddenly all the handrails started moving and people wondered why they were shaking so much on the subway. The girl was telling her brother to play together. After all, it's so much fun. Lu said he couldn't look at her right now, much less talk to her. Otherwise they'll think he's crazy. But then the girl showed him her tongue and told him that her brother was very dull. But let him be careful, there was something wrong with the place he was going to. No one saw this girl but Lu himself. So she decided to play with people and pulled the cheek of a guy who was sleeping so soundly. The guy woke up and screamed who pinched him. Upon arriving at the meeting place, Lu said it was too close to the outer wall. He didn't understand why, but being here made him feel depressed. But he's been followed all this time, and someone said that number 13 is at the starting point. And the investigation team is ready too. Lu headed towards this cafe, but didn't notice he was being followed. And the guy in the suit said the assault squad was ready. Chen said the target code is the cafe on the corner. The purpose of the assignment is to test the potential and specific ability of the observed number 13 for the position of spiritual profanity purifier. The risks were that the cafe on the corner was assigned a level 1 psychological contamination. Scenario: people caught in the zone of exposure would be consumed by it. People who visit cafes die within 3 to 5 days. The main cause of death is suicide. According to studies, depression is aggravated after a visit. The girl asked the squad, "Are they all set?" The guy said for her to inform the squad leader that the squad member doll is in her position and ready for action. In this cafe, at this time sat a beautiful girl, in a brightly colored dress and looked at the window. Lu walked into this cafe and didn't expect that with the outside so empty, the inside would be so lively. Lu walked up to the waiter and said that he had been asked to hand over this document. The guy thanked him for having Lu come all the way out here, and said he was owed and decided to buy him a drink. Lu refused and said he shouldn't, he'd rather go. But then he saw a mug of coffee that seemed flavorful, for it was different from that cheap stuff in the office. Lu took the coffee and thought maybe he should just have a cup before he left. But then he saw something strange from this guy. He had a tail sticking out the back. Before he could say a word, that tail headed toward Lu, and let some kind of withdrawal into his coffee. Lu looked at his coffee and saw an eye in it. At that moment he froze, and his mug gave off a bright glow. Lu was surprised, seeing an eye in his mug. Lu asked them why they froze. The monster guy told him to taste the coffee, because it was really good. Lu realized he can't let the guy know that he sees everything. Lu thanked him for his offer. And here he kept repeating that he had to pull himself together and pretend like nothing was going on. Lu turned away and started to walk away, for he knew he had to run from here without looking back. But on the threshold at the door Lu stopped, and turning back he saw that all the people had stood up and were heading towards him. Lu ran out of that cafe and didn't look back. But then the cameras caught him and told Chen that he ran out. The men of the squad asked, "How is this possible? This is a level 1 psychically infected zone." The man said that based on logic, if a spiritual mutant with limitless potential gets in there, there should be conflict. What's weirder is that nothing out of the ordinary happens. The third guy said he wanted to take the opportunity to test Subject 13 and find the source of the contamination in the coffee shop so he could then destroy it. They even set up 3 response teams. And that was the only thing they couldn't calculate. The guy asked the boss what should they do now. Chen said to keep checking and immediately make a new plan for Phase 4. Lu immediately headed to the subway station and wiped his sweat. He sighed and said that he was finally away from them. Sitting down in his chair he thought, why did this coffee shop have such strange customers? Apparently, what little 17 had warned him about was about the monster in the coffee shop, and yet, After the red moon had risen, a lot of angry people had gone into the forests. And what he saw, obviously when he comes back, he'll tell his family what happened. But then he heard people's voices, and he thought, why are there so many people here? But then he remembered that they were all in the cafe, and why were they all here, he wondered. And then the bartender came up to Lu and set a cup of coffee just for him. Is Lu going to drink it? The guy asked. Lu looked at him and thought, this guy is nuts. He's got to get out of here somehow. But he headed for the exit and saw all the demons surrounding him on all sides. This guy again told Lu to drink his coffee soon, because it would get cold. Lu saw the same eye inside the coffee again and said he had nothing to pay for it. The guy said that's okay, it's his treat. But at that moment, an eye from the coffee crashed into Lu, and he ducked. After all, he was surprised that it had started moving on its own. But then Lu decided to go through the people and run away. But they caught him at the corner and wouldn't let him go. They all surrounded Lu and started extending their arms at him. Lu screamed for those fucking monsters to get off of him. The team was watching this, and the guy asked, what happened? I mean, he's no different from a normal person. Chen asked. The guy doesn't know how to control his power? Guy asked Chen, does she want to complete the testing? Chen said she agreed not to put him at risk. But then the guy at the computer yelled for everyone to look at the data. Lu used his ferocious darkness battle power, and said that these monsters had started to pounce on him themselves. But then they managed to open Lu's mouth, and he thought how much strength they had in them. 17 came too and said that she had told him to be careful and he hadn't heard. Lu asked for her to help him. 17 said her older brother didn't like her, always pretending not to see her on the street and not wanting to talk to her. He'd hate her if she pretended to be his savior. That wouldn't happen. Lu thought, why would his little sister talk like that? 17 said to make Lu promise to buy her the best toy ever. Lu tried his best to resist and told 17 that he had no money. And then he saw an eye going into his mouth and said that was the end. But then 17 interrupted this and pulled Lu aside. Grabbing his arm, she tried to pull him away from the crowd. But grabbing his sister's hand, his eye began to change, and soon he turned into them too and started laughing. 17 climbed on Lu's back, and smiling said it was their turn now. But the guy was really awful in disguise, where from his eyes drained energy. Lu told her little sister, since that's what she decided, let her do whatever she wants to do. 17 said she was having a lot of fun, and told Lu to speed up. Lu told her to hold on to it tighter and not let go. The guy was saying on the other side of the screen that those were spider movements. On the verge of collapse and one step away from infection, he was able to defend himself. And in addition, he became very flexible, capable of movements that ordinary people could never dream of. The guy asked what the percentages were. The analyzer said that it was impossible to calculate now, but according to preliminary calculations, the speed was at least 50% higher than the standard speed. The guy asked, what's the probability of reaching a lizard-type infestation? But then the analyzer said that things are bad. The waiter said that Lu's speed is very good, but he's not going to let Lu run away from him. But then the guy let his tentacles into the ground, and set their sights on capturing the escaped boys. With every blow from this monster, Lu tried to dodge, and he was very good at it. The guy running everything decided not to let Lu go. Pushing a button, he told the boss the guy was running away. Chin said she was all ready and ordered them to get ready to catch him. But then the guy stopped her, and said it's a must-see, there's a problem. He told Chin to see what this guy was doing. And then Lu performed acrobatic skills, and looked down at the guy. Lu was pointing his finger, and the boys were thinking, what is he doing? Why did he climb upside down? The guy said that they all know that Pac's speed is immeasurable, but this guy exceeds all their expectations. The coffee shop contagion has 0 chance against him. The analyzer said no, it would be more accurate to say that little. What in the world could stop infected spiders at all? The guy said he didn't realize what kind of person Lu was. Anyone would have run away at the slightest encounter with monsters, but he turned around and mocked him. Chin saw that research subject number 13 was above board. Lu asked 17, where is she taking him? 17 asked Lu what he would like to do. Lu said he wanted to go to the police. Didn't she see those monsters? 17 asked why he was so scared. They're the ones who should be scared of them, not us. The monster found the boys and said it was very good, and it was time to act, immediately. And he put his tentacles into action. Lu, seeing this, said they should run away. 17 said, "How can you run away from such a cool interlude?" 17, without fear, headed towards tentacles and said she wanted to play. The analyzer said that Lu's mentality has reached its limit. A monster of the first spiritual level has emerged. The analyzer asked Chen, would they help him? Chen thought that logically it would be futile for an unarmed mutant like a spider to fight such a spiritual monster, but he rushed toward him without a hitch. Lu had the courage to take matters into his own hands, and headed toward him as well. But Lu didn't want to fight him, he just dodged his attacks. And then 17 saw the monster's arm torn off and laughed. At that moment, Lu held the monster's arm in his hands. And in a moment, he was gone. The guys asked what happened. Chen said that a spiritual force knocked out the camera in the subway. And then she said they had to act immediately. Lu started laughing too and said it was funny. The monster was left without an arm. Lu stopped and looked at the guy. Lu noticed the tentacles were attacking him, but he didn't run, and with a sweep of his arm, he grabbed it and started ripping it out. Lu looked at the monster and said weakly, "Still too weak." And then he began to taunt it as his soul desired. After severing all of the monster's limbs, Lu looked at them and asked the guy, "Is he going to run away from them?" "He's not going anywhere now." Taking the iron in his hands, he headed to attack the monster and stabbed Tuba right into the monster's head. Lu killed that monster and said he was just warming up and the monster was already deflated. So he's not interested. But suddenly, all the people started to run away and pass next to Lu without touching him. As they were running, strange monster larvae served from them. Lu said the monster was running away from him again, but when he caught up with him, he said he found it. And he saw a guy who looked like a monster himself. And then Li grabbed his head and said that he had caught him. And with a wave of his hand, he ripped his head off. Lu didn't stop there, and shouted to the others to stand still and wait for him. After killing everyone around him, Lu stood in the middle and watched his corpses. He said that this was it. No one could stand up to them. But then he saw that there was a man in the booth and was hiding out of fear. Lu started laughing and said that someone was still there. But then 17 headed for the man to kill him, and Lu said that was enough. He told her to stop. She tried to kill the man and asked Lu not to hold him. Lu told her to stop. He said he didn't stop her because of the dire situation. If they hadn't fought, they would have been cold corpses by now, and the coffee shop customers were monsters. So he let her maul them, but the security guard is human. You can't play with him. Did she understand him? 17 hugged Lu and told him not to be mad at her, she just wanted to protect him. The monsters were so angry and ferocious. Lu said if she's afraid, let her run away. She doesn't have to join the fight. 17 told him not to grumble. She will be on her best behavior next time. Now the people are coming, it's time for them to leave. And then Chin and the girl in the dress arrived at the battle site and cleaned up all the monster corpses that Lu had left behind. In peace, this subway was surrounded by police and began to identify the deaths. While Lu and 17 looked around for them, 17 asked Lu how he would thank her. Lu was surprised and said that he was the one who stopped her. Then he stopped talking and thanked her. 17 said that since that was the case, let Lu buy her a toy. Lu asked again. She has that teddy bear. He brought it just yesterday, so cute and adorable. 17 said no, she wants another one to scream even louder loudly. Lu asked her, has she ever heard of a screaming chicken? But then 17 got frustrated and said that Lu was stupid and she didn't want to play with him anymore. Lu stopped her and asked her why she was leaving. 17 told her brother to be careful. He's being watched. Lu asked 17 who was following him. But then 17 laughed and said she wouldn't tell and said goodbye to him. Lu in the aftermath asked her how she would order him to get down from here. But 17 answered nothing and disappeared. Lu thought, and apparently he's going to have to try his luck. And accelerating, he managed to jump to another building in the neighborhood. He knew that the most important thing for him was to avoid a run-in with these people, or he would be in trouble. But then he started looking around for another way out. And when he looked around, he didn't see anything usual. As he came out of the corner, he said he hoped it was safe. And then he was introduced, and his name was called. He froze in surprise at hearing that voice. Chin told him to get in the car, and she would buy him coffee in return. Lu asked. Coffee again? Lu thought that in his 23 years of life, no girl had ever called him out first. And a lady like that, is she among the people who came to the station? Is she following him or something? There was no note of hostility in her voice. It's unseemly to just take it like that and refuse it abruptly. Lu apologized and asked if he could have something else. He didn't feel comfortable with coffee today. Chen thought that Lu was quite calm as for someone who had dealt with an unexpected incident and received an invitation from a stranger. Chen said they would go to a bar. When they arrived, they got their drinks and were silent for a long time. The girl said her name is Qingjin. Here's her ID. She has no intention of harming him in any way. However, she admits that what happened to him today was organized by her. Lu saw that her ID card was that of an officer, from the highest ranks in the Jing Inspector Department. Such an important person from the center. He knew that people from the center were like celestials to the people of the suburbs. He didn't understand why a man of such high status would call him for a drink. So this whole thing, starting with the task of delivering the paper and into the monster's lair, is her doing. It's the lady. But then he froze, because he saw the girl had a gun. But then he lowered his head and realized that heroes need to fail sometimes too. Lu asked her why she was doing all this. Chen said that she would explain specifically. She works in the abnormality department that cleans up the contamination in the high wall area. Lu could consider them officinal. After the Scarlet Moon incident, the big cities started to reorganize into privileged cities and take it upon themselves to deal with the deranged people beyond their borders. Their staff has dealt with everything from rebellions of nature knights and spiritual sects to the building of great walls. The biggest problem they have right now is an incomprehensible contamination in the heart of each of the 5 major cities. Lu asked why obscure. Chen said. That's right, from the point of view of ordinary people, they are strange phenomena like what he encountered in the coffee shop. Chen said that the Scarlet Moon incident had rendered more than 70% of the Earth's population insane, and they, the disadvantaged survivors, can live in the center of the city or its outskirts under the protection of high walls. As it happens, not all survivors are normal. Among them there are many mental mutants who affect people and objects around them. Such cases, said Chen, they call contamination. Lu asked, and how are they contaminated? Are there any signs that indicate this? Chen said they're sick. In simple words, it's something like air pollution. The contamination spreads through the immediate area and affects people, bestowing them with the same symptoms. Similar to the plague, this contamination is yet of a more mystical nature, and yet unlike ordinary pollution, psychic affects the soul. Some people get depressed and put their hands on themselves. There are those who lose their minds and attack those around them. There are times when people completely lose the ability to communicate with their fellow human beings, and others inspire in others a keen desire to self-mutilate. Simply put, the source of infection gives birth to contagious mental illnesses. These infected people look no different from ordinary people, but inside their bodies have mutated. And most importantly, it's not the crazy people somewhere out there behind the walls, but the ones they see every day. One day they reveal themselves and infect everything around them, like those cafe customers, for example. There were 37 of them in total. And that's how death catches up with them. Lu said, so many people to kill, isn't it enough to kill the monsters that are the source of the infestation? Chen said that getting rid of the infectious does not mean that the person will immediately recover. Monsters are just sources. Any other infected person or object is also at risk of spreading the infection. The man Lu killed in the subway station was the original source of the infection. After his death, the infected people scattered. If even one of them escapes, there is always a chance that they will be the next source of infection. Over time, infection in humans will only increase. Lu said, then if that's the case, why would they leave an infected person behind if they know they'll transform at any moment? Chen said that level 1 spirit monsters were not known for their intelligence and cleverness, usually enough to infect those around them without much subterfuge. The infected instinctively gather around them and hand over control. They do not regain consciousness until the body dies, and if it does, it is too late. Lu said they sent him to such a dangerous place. Weren't they afraid he'd get infected too? Chen said that actually, Lu was already infected. Lu was surprised at what he heard, and Chen told him to read it. Lu saw all his details. Power level, photo, address, age, and finally his power mutation spider. Chen said that after the Scarlet Moon, some people's mental powers have strengthened. High mental strength rewards a person with better body control. With it, one can control every muscle, every bone, and Lu is one of the psychic mutants with these abilities. In analyzing his abilities, the very first clear mind control. There's a guy in their assault team with the call sign Gecko. His body-wielding ability reaches 80%, so he has an attack power level that the average person can't even imagine. He can dodge bullets and shoot almost perfectly with all firearms. He can jump over huge craters and climb walls, defying the laws of gravity. Based on their research, so did he, Lu. They nicknamed them arachnids because they can control the skeletal muscular system like spiders to increase speed, reaction, and do things that normal people can't. With this ability, his reaction to danger is greatly increased. The same goes for the psychic aspect. He can easily find the habitats of other spirit monsters. Based on all of the above, Lu is a great candidate for the infestation cleanup job. That day, Lu sat at the bus stop and thought that Chen had given him 10 kosari in all seriousness. Why didn't he know that he had psychic powers that could weigh down his wallet? But then he admitted that he wasn't going to bother, he needed that money anyway. And then he got off at the next stop. He decided to head towards the Red Moon Elementary School. And as he opened the gate to the school, he saw an old man. The old man told Lu that she was still teaching the class. Lu went to the classroom and heard the girl telling poems to the boys. Lu said she was as happy as ever with the kids. The girl was handicapped, and asked who came to see her, but then she turned around and saw no one. She must have heard or thought he was here. The girl started clapping and told the kids as they continued to sing the song. Lu said she straight up glowed and he didn't feel like interrupting her, and then he decided that he would just put it in the mailbox, and taking the money from his bag, he put a round sum of money in there, but then he stopped, and saw that behind him was a clump of flowers. Plucking one of them, he placed it on the dresser. The old man said Lu should talk to her already. All he does is come and put bouquets on the mailbox. He is happy to plant flowers knowing that Du will give them to Xiao. Lu said then he'd stop by on the weekend and buy him a drink. The old man said he wouldn't mind. He'd buy him a drink himself, especially since he still had some peanuts. When Lu left, he said it would be nice to be born rich. He's poor as a church mouse. If he got rich, he wouldn't know what to spend his money on. But then he remembered that lady looking at him like that. She'd said an hour ago that they'd discovered that Lu's abilities were a head taller than normal people, and to clean up the infestations and resolve the incidents in Jing and the 5 satellite cities, they need people like him now. May he take the gift for helping defeat the spiritual monster. And then Chen put a stack of money on the table and said, "Here are 10,000 yuan. Lu was surprised and asked, "Is she joking?" Chen said he was owed for killing the monster. And 10 only because they did the work for him. Normally, 30,000 yuan is paid for a case. Lu asked, "Exactly 30,000? Chen said that it is, if one uses the ability wisely. He can no longer be afraid of poverty." Lu thought in his head about the words "don't be afraid of poverty." How nice such uplifting words are. A little unanticipated happiness. Chen saw that since Lu was comfortable with it, it could be considered a 10% risk factor. Lu told her to wait, he still had some things he wanted to clear up. About what she was talking about. He may need a part-time job, but he still runs the risk of telling the truth. He doesn't really have any powers, it's all his little sister's talent. She helped him escape because she followed him around. They lived together. Chen asked, "What did Lu say?" But then she saw that this guy wasn't kidding. She was told to Commander Chen, "Think properly. If he is exhibiting several symptoms of multiple personality, there is a high chance the guy is going to flip out, and not only will they not be able to curb it, they will have to neutralize it as soon as possible to prevent a catastrophe from happening. Also, let him not forget the dreamer who died for a mysterious reason. All she did was enter Lu's dreams and try to influence them. After that, no remnants of a soul were found in her body. It's the first time they've ever done that. Even Professor Bai couldn't determine the cause of her death. Chen knew there were already big risks in this venture. And now it also turns out that the guy has a chance of progressing to schizophrenia. She thought killing him was the only way out. But then she said no and decided to find another way. Chen said that based on their information, ever since the Moon Orphanage was destroyed, Lu has been living alone. His father, mother and sister are just a figment of his imagination, and not only them, but also the old Tao he lives in. Chin realized that telling the truth was the most dangerous yet effective solution to this situation. If it got out of control, there would be no more reason to hold back. Lu said he knows, he realized a long time ago, that no one can see them. However, he can still sit at the same table with them, chatting and watching TV, and his family comes to his aid when he is in danger. Lu asked her, did she really think they didn't exist? But then the voice in her ear said that the gun was loaded. Let her make the final decision. Chen said then she would ask one question. If the source of his power is the relatives, then can he guarantee that they won't take control of him? Lu said she has nothing to worry about, his family are very good people. Sister is a real beauty, loves toys and frolicking. Father loves to cook, he is always honest with himself, and does not go beyond the kitchen. Mother is very affectionate, never quarrels with anyone, but likes to argue. They are not much enamored with his body. Chen saw that he looked completely normal. Even too much like a person who has absolutely no superhuman abilities. Lu said she had a look of total disbelief in her eyes. Whatever, as long as it was a cool way to make money, the rest didn't matter. But at one point, Chin came up to him and told him to sit down. She said the assault team had decided to take him in. At the moment, he is only a trainee. To become a full member of the group, he will have to pass a test. He starts with a salary of 5,000 yuan. And there will be bonuses for on-site visits. If Lu agrees, then let him autograph it, Chen said and gave him a pen and paper. Lu read the document, and saw that there was nothing wrong with it. Lu asked, and what should he do next? Chen said that he would deal with special sources of contamination and clean up. In other words, protect the people of the city. Therefore, have him always at the ready, as incidents that require their intervention are very often dangerous. And always of course in their job, there's a chance of dying, even doing a sweep in a group. Still, don't let him worry. In Jinkan after the events of the Red Moon, every normal person deserves respect and protection. And Lu is certainly one of them. Lu took the paper and signed his autograph. Chen said that she was curious. He didn't hesitate for a moment, and signed as soon as he heard about the danger. The director of the orphanage where he lived liked to tell him that after the Red Moon, there are fewer and fewer people left in the world. The world order collapses and civilization dies. If their numbers drop to hundreds or even thousands, they will never get back to what they used to be, although he has no idea what it used to be like. But in his opinion, it's very right. Chen looked at him and said, okay. She gave him the box and said, it contains useful things. But then Lu opened it, and was surprised to see the gun. Chen said the phone is their way of communicating, she will communicate more information through it. He can call her too, the only number saved there in her contact list. Chen asked if Lu could hear her. Lu said yes, but he was a little self-conscious. But he felt uncomfortable and blushed. Chen saw that there was something mischievous about this guy. So the risk factor could be reduced a little more. Chen said she now wished she could explain to him what to do when he wasn't cleaning up an infestation but was confronted with one. If he gets into trouble, let him not be in a hurry to use his abilities. She has 3 pieces of advice for such a case. First, he has to report it to the law enforcement officer in town. 2, he has to call her. And 3, the way to handle the situation is with guns. Lu realized that he could get a call anytime, but the money was decent. Plus, there were bonuses depending on the assignment. Like 30,000 for clearing out a level 1 spirit monster, and 300 for a level 2. His basic salary of 6 grand is bearable. 500 yuan each will be taken for subsistence, and the rest will be put aside. 66 a year, 660 in 10 years. The elementary school needs to move as soon as possible because it's dangerous to be right under the walls. It's going to take at least 15 years for him to be able to buy a house that will fit a lot of people. If you take on more work, you can raise the right amount of money faster. I guess he should look for a way to become a regular member as soon as possible. If everything went well, he would be able to put aside something for himself. But then 17 showed up and asked Lu what he was doing here. Mom and Dad are waiting for him to sit at the table together. Lu said his little sister was here. That's good, he had something to tell her. 17 asked her brother, does he want to use with her skills to make money? But what will she get in return? Did Lu say she'd get a screaming chicken? Or a monkey with a drum? But what about a dancing donkey? 17 said she could see that her brother didn't want it much, since that's how they say goodbye. Lu told her not to leave and to make arrangements with him. What toy does she want? Just let her tell him. He'll find a way to get it, but just don't let her go. 17 said she wanted to play with a fun doll. She wants it to move and talk, and that she has everything in one piece, because if the arms and legs are in place, they can be ripped off and sewn back on. If her brother would give him such dolls, she would do whatever her brother wished. But then Lu sighed heavily. Lu told 17 that you can't hurt anyone. It's against the law. 17 asked, is it against the law to hurt someone? Then why are others allowed to hurt her? If Lu doesn't want her to torture people, then he himself will become her toy and let her play with himself. And 17 hugged Lu, and began to slowly wrench his back, penetrating deeper and deeper. 17 asked Lu how his scar was. Does it still hurt? Lu couldn't say anything, and remained silent at that moment. 17 said his brother was such a fool. He's the only one who protects her from everyone in the world. Lu told Sis, she knows he's not the same as he used to be. He got a new job and he's making money. If he can't give her a toy like that, he'll find another one. He will buy as many as she wants and the kind she wants. Did she agree to this? But then she laughed and took him to the toy store, and then she pointed her finger that she wanted a teddy bear, and Lu fulfilled her wishes. People were saying on the street that Lu was very strange. What is he, an exhibitionist? He could have dressed normally, the girl said. Do men carry around a mountain of toys and talk to themselves? And then 17 heard it and stopped. They turned around at these guys and showed their tongues. The girl said this guy gave her a tongue lashing. Kids have lost all respect for their elders. And then she headed to the boardwalk, where 17 stuffed all of her brother's purchased toys into her body. But some of them she ripped out limbs and sewed back on. After getting rid of all the toys' limbs, she started laughing loudly, and saying that she had a lot of fun and loved doing this. Lu looked at her, and was silent. But then 17 told her brother that she was very happy. Lu asked, so she would agree to lend him power? 17 said that Lu is a fool. Did he forget that he could borrow her power? Lu said he hadn't forgotten, but he still needed her consent. 17 said she's always there for him when he needs her. Then they touched their hands to each other and Lu said he got it. Lu said 17 tore all his clothes. How is he going to go to work tomorrow looking like that? 17 said his brother would take her. According to the data, since the Red Moon orphanage reopened, Lu has been supporting it financially. He seems to care about those children as an orphan. However, Commander Chen, since she has decided to accept him into the assault team, we must be extremely careful. Is she sure about her choice? Chen said of course she was sure. Guy told Commander Chen that this was out of statute. He should at least have been taken to the center for final testing to determine the risk of loss of control. Chen agreed and said that as soon as she arrived, she would self-report to Professor Bai in this. Chen took out her earpiece and said they were a bunch of useless bureaucrats. They're just a bunch of bureaucrats. How can you rush a person to the center when you don't even know what to expect? I mean, she clearly and plainly said the guy was schizophrenic, and now that he's already with them, they're also pestering her to ask if she's sure? In the skirmish in the coffee shop, Lu demonstrated superior body control, but there was no mention of the previously known spiritual power. Perhaps due to his lack of experience, he does not know about it. If the footage of their subway station gets to the people in the watchdog group, Lu's risk assessment goes up to 80%. No, not even 90%. With a 90% risk, he could be out at any moment without further ado. Mining companies, technological institutions, knights of nature, and spiritual monsters lurk among the crowd. The high walls won't last long. Jing's main problem is not who is with them, but there is no other choice. Only a madman can fight back against the monsters. The next morning at the table his mother said Lu was going to a new job. Was he set? Lu smiled and said he was ready. His mother said Lu's all grown up, he works 2 jobs. Let him eat well. When he's done eating, his mother will give him something. Lu asked what she would give him as a gift. His mother said it was a special gift for his new job. But then my father came into the room angrily and said, "What's the mess in here?" He ran like a madman when he saw that there was someone here. Dad said Lu's an asshole. He doesn't know when he's being tricked. Let him kill them all. It's for the best, Dad told Lu. He's not buying that they're gonna kill him. They don't give a shit about his life. They were gonna kill him from the start. If it weren't for that little brat, he'd be a corpse in the damp earth by now. 17 closed up immediately, because she was scared. His father asked Lu why the fuck he signed up to be their assistant, since they had guns pointed at him. Huh? Lu said he agrees, they didn't do the best thing at the coffee shop. But it pays well. His father picked Lu up and lifted him up in the air, saying how do people like him survive? And then he decided to punch the kid, but then the father's punch was blocked by the mother, and told that here in the family is the real sucker. It's only him and don't hurt others with it. His mother said, would they still be in this shithole if it weren't for his ineptitude and stupid temper? Let him look at himself before he hurls insults at people. But immediately the father switched to the mother, and hitting her said she was looking for death, and told her to die. But the mother was not afraid, and she put her 2 fingers on the table. The father asked her why she had put her fingers together. His mother said he knows it better than anyone. Let him get the hell out of here if he poops his pants. The father could not stand it because of his anger, and threw the table into the corner. The children were all frightened and covered their faces from the splinters. The father looked at his children, and then at his wife, but unable to say or do anything, turned and walked away. Lu told his little sister that it was okay, there was nothing to be afraid of. 17 was very frightened and hugged her brother. His mother stood up and said there was nothing more to be afraid of. There was no point in wasting time with nonsense. His mother seemed to have promised to give Lu something on his first day of work. They went to the fitting room and Lu thanked his mother, asking if he looked ridiculous in this. She said Lu looked good, and in addition to the suit, she put glasses on him, which emphasized his look. His mother said that Lu, a real handsome boy if you get him cleaned up. And then she hugged him at the mirror and was happy. Lu thanked his mother and said that although he wasn't particularly used to that style of dress, and also for protecting him. My mother said Lu was a fool. Why should I thank my own man? Let him do his best in his new job. Let him be polite and solve problems wisely. The mother said that she understood that a well-mannered boy like him would never threaten others, but if anyone dared to belittle him, they would visit him as a family and give him an explanatory talk. That same day, Lu quickly headed to work so he wouldn't be late. And as he entered the room, everyone looked at him very intently. The guy said Lu's usually the last one to leave work. Doesn't she think it's weird that these days this guy leaves right after work? The girl says to the guy, can he see Lu's dress to the hilt? He's got a girlfriend, she tells him. Walking near the office of the director of the company, Lu did not pay attention to him. But the director analyzed Lu every single day, and wondered. Lu strolled home saying that the need to patrol had led him to think that he hadn't paid attention to the city in a long time. Since the red moon, the people outside the walls have been split in 2. Some walk in a hurry and do not notice anything around them, and others gave into laziness and let life take its course. In the 30 years since the walls were built, hunger has been rare, but it's almost impossible to get off the bottom. Lu said the city was too big, he'd been through so much and never noticed anything unusual. If all is well and there is no need for him, does Commander Chen take all the goodies off him? Where will he make the extra money then? 17 said Lu only goes out on patrol after work, that's why he doesn't find anything. With 1 heart and 2 heads, you don't see anything at all. Lu sighed and said that he hadn't even had dinner so he could go out early. And he offered to go home sooner. He will go out early to work in the morning. 17 asked Lu if she would be back tomorrow. Lu said of course, because he gets paid 5,000 every month. If he did well, he could become a full-fledged employee sooner and earn tens of thousands. A few days later, the director told Lu that he was no longer in the office as of tomorrow. They are having difficulties at the moment, so they can't afford a large staff. Both he and Lu can do the same thing, but he is more serious about his work. You see, lately he hardly ever waits until the end of the day and leaves early. Lu asked, he means Lu Qing? But it's not like he's never left before, he's just not working overtime. Let the principal give him a second chance. The director sighed and said that Lu had been with them for a long time. He didn't want to say goodbye to him himself, but that's the way things are. But their company doesn't pay people to look pretty. Let Lu express his indignation elsewhere. But then he came to his workplace and wondered who had so thoughtfully packed all his belongings. The woman told Lu that Lu Qing helped Lu Qing put his things together. He was already anxious to take his workplace. She said she didn't want to lecture him, but he's too naive, Lu. She told him not to teach anybody anything, and now she's taken him out of his job. She said that this guy is a tricky fruit. He's making love to the chief's daughter. And the chief is not stupid. He wouldn't leave a possible son-in-law without a job. The woman told Lu not to tell anyone what she told him. It's a hard time for everyone right now. But then Lu remembered Chen's words to which he must adhere at all times, and in all circumstances. Lu said it was not the right situation to pull out a weapon. He slowly took all his things and headed for the exit. Lu sat outside and thought that pestering Chen with such trivialities would be very foolish. But then he spit on everything and said that it was worth a try, and dialed Chen. She picked up the phone and was surprised. Chen asked him, "Is something wrong?" Lu apologized to Commander Chen for distracting her, but he had a problem. What was the problem? Lu thought, why does the conversation seem somehow different to him? Lu said he patrolled the street every day after work, always leaving only after he was done with work and waiting for his shift to end, but he was suddenly fired out of the blue. Chen asked him, "Is he patrolling?" Lu said yes, just in case there are monsters driving people crazy. He's never left work before, honestly, and he was fired anyway, and another person was put in his workplace. Chen asked him if that was why he called her. Chen told the guy to wait for her for a second. Lu said she asked him to wait, so that means she can fix it. 17 asked Lu, was the woman he'd called sure she could help him? Wouldn't it be better to let her turn everything in there into dolls? They dared to humiliate him, so they deserved to die. Mom would be happy to help them. Maybe even Dad will be willing to stand up for him. Or they'll kill them all. Lu told her to forget about it. They are simple people, and murder is criminalized. They'd better wait to hear from Team Chin. 5 minutes later, the principal came running in and said he found him. Why is he sitting here, Li Xin? The director said. Why didn't Lu say so earlier? It was worth notifying him right away that he knew the director from Boga Technology in the city center. Lu thought, who else is Director Lu? The director said he just got a call from Director Lu saying he was very impressed with Lu's attitude about the work. They are handing over the transportation project to them. Imagine Lu. The director said that the chief called to inform that the project chief intends to appoint Lu and only Lu. There's been a little misunderstanding between them, so let's continue to work hard for the good of their company. And after work, he'll buy Lu dinner. Lu realized that it looks like the unemployed status is cancelled. Lu Qing said he apologized, Lu's brother, he didn't mean to take away his job. Lu said it's okay, he understands. It's not easy for people like them to survive in this world. Lu Qing asked if he could also participate in his project. Lu realized that judging from the director's ingratiation, the new project was incredibly important. If so, it would be worth a lot of goodies. Lu said that the guy shouldn't join this project, he could handle it himself. And then the girl was surprised and angry with him. The director said Lu was probably busy, let him handle his business, and they wouldn't bother him. Act like human beings, and they will be treated like human beings. But then he got a call from Chen, and she asked if everything was resolved. Lu said yes, and thanked Commander Qing. Chen said Lu works for them now, so why hang on to a low-paying position? She wouldn't live for a week on that kind of pittance. Lu said he understood from what she said that they didn't forbid him from working elsewhere. 1,000 yuan is also money. Chen asked, then why does he go out to patrol? Lu said that's what Chen is paying him for. If he doesn't do what is required of him, he will feel guilty taking money from her. Chen told him to do as he knows how. Since he's enthusiastic, he's doing something. And she gives him his first assignment from their organization. She had just asked Bogo Technology to arrange the transportation he works for. Let Lu take this opportunity to deal with Qin Zhang, the owner of Shiwang Transportation Company. Their spy has gotten intel that 7, if not 8, recent murders are linked to this company. She wants him to find out if something else is behind these deaths. Lu asked, 7-8 lives? What if they are just ordinary murders? Shin said that in that case, they would be calm and he would go home. However, if it turns out otherwise, let him report it immediately. Lu thought that simple murders would appease them? In the eyes of the pollution cleaners, Were cases in which 8 people died considered an absolute commonplace? Lu asked. Is this assignment dangerous? Chen said that if the assassin, who had nothing to do with the infection, was dangerous to ordinary people, he could deal with him with his bare hands. In that case, there would be a bonus for completing the investigation. Lu asked for a bonus? And then he realized his assignment. Lu came to his old job, and all the workers did not take their eyes off him. Apparently they envied him a lot for his promotion. And then coming to his desk, Lu saw that all his things were neatly arranged. And then he saw that Lu Qing was dangerous to the common people. Lu told Qing that he thought he couldn't do without his help on this project. And then the boy was surprised at his words and froze. Shifan Transportation Company is one of the biggest carriers in the city. The main activity, transportation of goods between satellite cities. Sometimes they deliver goods directly to the big city as well as to the areas under the walls. He had heard that a woman surnamed Qing was in charge of everything and her business was huge. After all, they not only worked in the outskirts, but also in the center. The guy asked Lu's brother, is he sure he wants to meet them? Lu was afraid that this transportation company was actually not at all as simple as it seemed. Although the acute problem of food shortages has been overcome with the discovery of wild cattle and the restoration of some industries, they are still like the moon to the industrial system of the past. One of the main problems is trucking. The road outside the walls, you could say, is not left at all, and the paths are blocked by fallen trees. There are mindless people wandering around in droves that you can't get past. And there's also the risk of being ambushed by the Knights of Nature, a bunch of rabble who survive by stealing produce. But dangers cannot be ruled out, which cannot be anticipated in advance. Consequently, when traveling outside the city boundaries with cargo, the company is required not only to be ready to solve problems, but also to be adequately equipped and organized. A woman named Qing, known as the owner of a transportation company, is only that on paper. The real leader is a man from the wasteland named Qin Zhang. According to their laws, people born outside the walls and living in the city for up to 3 years have no official status and are not allowed to register companies. So he uses a pawn in the person of his mistress instead of himself, and they are probably unlikely to deliver goods in an honest manner. A man born in the wilderness cannot be simple, certainly not honest. Lu told the guy that not many companies agree to do intercity trucking. He has to find out what's behind that facade. When Lu arrived at the place, he said it was the Shifan Transportation Company. The guy's girlfriend said it was filthy and dirty, but then the stranger said, no need to flash your eyes left and right, let them follow him. The girl walking through the crowd of people said they were scary. The guy said that he too doubted that they were all good people. The stranger asked the guys what they were mumbling about. Lu told the guy to go over to the manager's office and talk to him. He would stay outside and keep an eye on the car and the surroundings. Lu went outside and started to look around, but all he saw was a large number of people doing whatever they could. Lu remembered that Chen had said that people had died here, but didn't know for sure if the contamination was the cause. So far, there was nothing out of the ordinary when compared to the events at the coffee shop, but there's no denying that all these guys are in an insecure business, so they take their victims for granted. But he realized that driving outside the walls was scary as hell. But then he became fixated on a car that had needles on its wheels. But that's when he saw that there were traces of blood and fight on the needles. And at that moment there was a scream, someone asking for help. At this point, the employees were beating the guy up and asking, who does business like this? They're risking their lives every day just so he can bargain with them? The girl was frightened and screamed at him to stop and stop. Otherwise she would call the police. Lu saw this and immediately grabbed his gun and said, what's going on here? What's going on here? The girl said she thought they wanted too much for their services, so they wanted to bargain, and these people took it and jumped on it, and they have a problem on their ledger. You must not cooperate with them, otherwise it will seriously backfire on them in the future. But then a woman came up and grabbed the girl by the hair and asked, which one of them has a problem? They're shaking their rights here, and they're outraged. But then Lu realized what the problem was. He wondered if he should step back so they could get pounded some more. Lu walked into the center of the battle and asked why they were suddenly taking up fists. But then the bald man asked Lu if he was in charge. Manager Lu, who called? He was looking for you. He called and asked for a car. The car's here, even the driver. Now they're backing off. Are you messing with him? Baldy said it's hard for everyone in their world. Lu's gonna give up, so he's gonna give up. That's how it works. If you're too proud, you can't blame them for what kind of response Lu gets. There's some truth in what you say. Why don't we start over and talk? The man said they're trying to survive here. Who's got time to talk to him, huh? Lu asked what they wanted then. Baldy said for him to sign the contract, shell out the dough, and they'll take care of business. It'd be easier on everybody. Lu said that's no way to sign a contract. Baldy told his men to look at the kid. That manager must have a big head. Let's see how tough? The men surrounded him and said they'd check it out and they would. Lu realized that they were going to talk with their fists, not their mouths. But then Lu pulled out a gun and pointed it at the bald guy. The kid told his brother that the kid was holding a gun. Lu said, "Dear brother, business is conducted by negotiation. The fists of the path they will leave for another." But then the bald man started laughing and said, "Who knew there would be a man with a gun outside the walls?" And then they all pulled out their guns and irons, and asked Lu, "Isn't he ashamed to point his gun at them?" And then someone from behind attacked Lu with a knife, and shouted for him to die. But then Lu saw it coming, and shot him, and then everyone stood there and watched Lu as he negotiated. He told them that they had seen it all for themselves. Lu looked at the girl and said his gun was the epitome of nobility. And he had his hand on the trigger. The girl stepped forward and said that Lu looked like an ordinary office plankton. She didn't expect him to have the guts to shoot. They have something to shoot with too, but they didn't take such weapons with them, giving them the opportunity to lead. She said that she would write it off as a slip-up, they would let them go today. However, if the police took them in afterwards, they would have nothing to do with it. If the boys separated from her, they would meet with them again. Lu said he wasn't going anywhere, they weren't done yet. The girl asked, did he still want to discuss some business with them? Lu said he wants to, but we need to decide on a price. It has to be fair, not on whatever terms they want. The man said he'd had a couple times doing business with a man with a gun to his temple. He's also done business with smart guys hanging over a lake full of crazy people. However, said the man, this is the first time someone is pointing a gun at his men, pushing speeches about business. The man told Lu to let go of the gun. Lu's in charge today, he ain't gonna do nothing to him. And told him to go with him. And then they went into the house, and sat down to dinner. Lu saw that the man had already eaten a whole mountain. The man said he still can't get enough after living on the wasteland. Is Lu gonna eat? Lu said that he wasn't hungry, and that he should eat. Lu realized that people outside the walls were often malnourished, but for such a burly man to lack food. The man said that he had struggled for life all his life and had gone through more than 1 or 2 hardships. He was happy enough to eat, sleep, play with women and not have them throw a grenade at him. But inside the walls, no one shines unnecessarily. Everyone follows the rules, and Lu and him, they both took a step back so the guys could get on with their lives. Is he putting it right? The man asked. Now let Lu answer why he needs him. Outside the walls, he had often seen men solving cases with a firm grip on a bagpipe. But one look at him, and it was clear as daylight that he had never been to the wasteland. Who sent him and for what purpose? Lu asked the man. Is he Qin Jiang? Did he notice anything strange? Qin asked, so this is all because of him? But then he pulled out a gun and told Lu to answer. What does he want? Or his head's gonna blow off. Lu realized that judging by the violent reaction, he had gotten to the right person. But then he saw that he wasn't so scary, as his little sister suddenly appeared. Lu heard that Commander Chen had ordered to investigate Qin Jiang, but did not specify exactly how. The right way would save time and energy, and would be the most effective, but the easiest way is to get straight to the point. Lu told him that he wasn't involved in any way, he'd just been sent to see if they had any specific problems. Qin asked, finding out about his problems? Is this guy really with the cops? Lu said not to worry, he has nothing to do with the police. Lu saw the man trying to keep himself in check when he's mentally on the verge of a breakdown. Don't provoke him, or he'll blow his brains out. And then he said 17. Just as suddenly she said she understood him. And she knocked the gun off the man's hands. Lu took the gun in his hands and said he wasn't investigating his problems, but whether or not he had confronted them. But then the man got scared and asked who else was here? How did the guy do that? Lu said why would he ask if he wouldn't understand anyway. Lu said to tell him now, have there been any strange phenomena here? If Qin needed to, he could remind him. For example, the number of deaths. Qin thought that this guy seemed like a naive city simpleton, but was pressuring him with his aura. And took the gun away from him. If he didn't cooperate with him, then, Qin said, he knew it, so he knew someone would realize. He couldn't have been the only one to notice. He has no idea whose side Lu is on, but yes, he has witnessed strange things. Qin said they were trying to get revenge. Not in the usual sense, no one in their right mind would believe such revenge. It all started 14 days ago. Whether Lu knows it or not, he's not just hauling freight. He's running all sorts of errands, the police are aware. And it all started when he bought bare wheels. It was sold by Gui from the Western District. Gui Wan, to be exact, he's in the business. The Lonas have done this before. However, he was selling him the goods alone that day. The bastard thought he was some kind of good man. He couldn't pass up a chance like that, so he killed him. He took the wheels, he could make tens of thousands for them. He dismembered Gui's body and threw it to the wild mutts. Thought that was the end of it, but who could have known that the next day a woman would appear out of the blue? He didn't know her, but she called herself Gui Wan and cursed him, saying that he was not human. She swore to kill him and wanted him to give up the goods. Lu asked, is it the woman who called herself Gui Wan? Now that's interesting. Qin said he didn't redeem what she was after and thought it was Gui's chick, so he bumped her off too, and they poured the body with concrete. But over there, under the big weights, the man said, and also showed the place with his finger. However, he suspected something wrong and sent a man to find out more about her based on her description. The woman's name was Wang, and she worked in a garment factory in the southern district. And never Gui she supposedly didn't know at all. Well, does Lu think that's weird? But the strangest part was yet to come. 2 days later, the man showed up again. 2 days later, 2 more people found him, looking dirty. One was in his 30s, the other 17 or 18. The man was represented by Chui and the maiden by Wang. Their eyes were bloodthirsty. They rushed at him, even though they were surrounded by his men, but they killed those monsters. Lu said there were 4 victims already. The man said that's where the horrifying moments began. The man sent people to find out more about these 2, and it turned out that the attackers didn't even know who Chui and Wang were. But they came anyway. But the worst part was that 4 days later, 4 more people showed up. Some strangers. They had somehow managed to sneak into his house. The man said he was fed up with them, or they were in his throat. 4 fucking people with their minds blown. One was saying they were Chui again. Another was saying they were Wang, a third was babbling Zhang, a fourth was shouting Wuzi. They were really crazy. And their stares gave me the frostbite. Lu asked, so are these people all of them? The man said he didn't dare to kill them, so he locked them up. And then he asked Lu to come with him, and then they headed towards a building that looked like a basement. But then he opened the door and Lu said it was a very horrible smell. These all bodies were lying there rotting. Lu said it was just an abomination. And it all turns out to be people. The man asked Lu, doesn't that scare him? Those things gave him a big scare. When they broke into his house, he almost shit his pants. He didn't even want to kill them, so he locked them in here. And when he later went back to check on them, he saw them. Those crazy bastards started tearing each other to pieces. Can Lu imagine? They used to be human, but have since turned into a herd of cannibal pigs. Imagine Lu if he bit him or vice versa. But these scum weren't biting, they were tearing each other's flesh. Despite the guts spilling out, they kept swimming in this bloody mess. The man said he couldn't look at this horror anymore, so he took his gun and put a bullet in everyone's forehead. For the first time, he wasn't haunted by the guilt of killing a man. Lu realized that the strange-looking man who had arranged all this seemed to be named Chui. However, if his words are to be believed, there is a certain pattern. On the first day, 1 person came, the second 2, the fourth 4. Lu asked how many days had passed since his first encounter with these things. The man said it had been 7. Lu learned that 7 days had passed. Tomorrow would be the 8th, so that meant 8 men would arrive tomorrow. Lu told the man he had something to report. The man said he was responsible for a lot of people here, so I won't hesitate. Even if there's a crowd of them, he won't flinch. What's more, he won't stay in this godforsaken town. And he'll still be in power when they leave here. The man said, Lu, don't even think about fooling him, you understand? And his fucking guns ain't gonna help him. He ain't gonna get a shitload of people to run away. Lu said he'd be able to leave this place anyway, but that wasn't the point right now. Okay, 4, he could handle it, whatever if there were 6, but what if there were 16? Lu asked the man. Did Shui know where he lived? The man asked Lu, did he care? Lu said the man said when this all started, he was looking for him, and the third time, they came right to his house. Hadn't he noticed that these things found him wherever he was? The man said it was impossible. Lu said these events are basically impossible. But here they are. 16 creatures may not be enough for him, but what if their numbers grow exponentially? If you believe that pattern, one day the whole fucking world will come after him. And these things are not afraid of death or pain, and no matter where he is, they will find him. Because here's the thing, as long as he's alive, they'll keep coming. The man said his business isn't exactly honest. If someone decides to report him to the police, then he doesn't want to be in the wasteland. Lu had given him a choice, either the wastelands or death, especially if those deaths were from those monsters that lay in that pit behind him. The man dropped the axe and said he would take Lu's word for it. Lu looked at him and said it was like he had a choice. Lu called and told Captain Chen that he was here to tell them something. But here the man stood nearby and listened to the boy's words. Lu said to call in the Special Operations Unit. Chen was surprised that Lu got the information so quickly. Chen said, very good, can confirm that it is related to mind distortion. She will send a special team immediately. And 3 people will meet with Lu soon. They are very experienced. Chen said to Lu to remember that he is a mental mutant. In some cases, their expertise would be inferior to his instincts. He would investigate in the future, but this time still had to follow her orders. Lu said he understood, and wanted to have a word about payment. But suddenly the girl hung up abruptly. 30 minutes later, a black car arrived at the site and several soldiers armed with guns climbed out. The guy told Lu that on the orders of Chen's capital, the second group of the Mind Decay Investigation Special Squad arrived to meet him. And he is the squad leader Cheng Hui. Lu thought calling him Mr. was too formal. He told Hui that there was no need for formality, the way to call him just Lu. Hui pulled out a box and said, this is for Mr. Lu, let him take it. Lu saw that this earpiece looks exactly the same. It seems to be the equipment worn on missions. Lu put it on, and started to hear all the squad assignments. But then a girl connected to him, and said her name was Corporal Han. She and her team would provide him with information. Han said for Lu to let her go over the incident data first. Lu thought how soft her voice was. Han said that based on Mr. Lu's report, it seems to be a new type of distortion that hasn't been seen before. Presumptive action to begin investigation to determine the source of the distortion, then begin cleanup. Next, detain Qin Zhan and the others, wait for the psycho-mutants to appear, detect any changes, and gather evidence. Han said that if necessary, he could leave Qin as the attacker, then the source would be blocked. Lu saw that so many wanted revenge. Is that any way to give them someone to torture? But then Han said this is the first time they've been involved in an official investigation. It's a great learning opportunity. In the future, every time they go somewhere, the analysis squad will always support it. You have to get used to that kind of work dynamic quickly. Han said that sometimes the initial fulfillment of the source's need will weaken the distortion. This is a valid method of eliminating it. However, there is not enough information about the 041 distortion, so another method will be resorted to. According to the data we got, the victims don't know each other, but they're all consumed by revenge. So there's got to be some kind of overlap. This is the point most likely to be the source of the distortion. She suggests sending a couple of people to study the lives of the victims, especially where they usually go. Lu said to study one at a time? Isn't that too long? Han said she doesn't know, work assignments are complicated. Many areas don't have cameras, so there is interference with the investigation. Lu said he wasn't questioning the skills of the special squad, but maybe there was a faster way. Tomorrow would be the 8th day. It was very likely that more people would be exposed to the distortion if things went on as usual. Han said she agreed with him. Productivity is very important in this. If the plan takes too long, the source of the distortion may have time to mutate. They can analyze further to narrow down the search area. We can focus on the first psychomutant, Chui Wan. Han said for everyone to listen, Chui Wan's target, and his actions before his death. Have them concentrate on the place where he was killed and the populated areas nearby. Proceed with the mission. A few hours later, the car came to one place and Han said that pushing back from the place where Chui Wan was killed, the Young Industrial Zone, there were 4 zones. Southwest Chemical Fertilizer Plant, the landfill, the vacant lot next to the landfill, and the boundary pond. Just now, they received data that nothing strange was happening in the first 3 zones. The last area left is the pond at the southern border. It's a complex landscape there, so if the source of the distortion is there, you need to be careful. Arriving at the site, Lu thought it was odd that 17 hadn't been heard all day, but maybe now. But then he saw her, and he said she came before him? 17 told Lu to come over to her. There's something interesting here. Lu thought, over the interesting? After all, her preferences were always different from the other kids. What could be out there? Lu walked over and asked, is it in the lake? What's in there? 17 said she didn't know, but it looked like something interesting. Lu said, I think they found it? And asked 17 if she could use her powers underwater? 17 said she hadn't tried it, but she wanted to try it. And started laughing out loud. Lu walked over to the guys and asked, do these instruments work underwater? He remembered that Captain Chen had explained to him how high-tech these devices were. However, the 17th sits only 4 or 5 meters away from the lake, but there seems to be no reaction. Apparently, 17's psychic abilities are not in the realm of detecting this device. She can't be who he imagined her to be, can she? The guy said that if the devices were only submerged in water for a short time, they would be fine, but their protective gear would get wet. It was very uncomfortable to wear the gear underwater, but if they took it off, it would be too dangerous to get close to the distortion. However, if that is the order, they will definitely follow it. Lu said he understood, and accepted that he would go down himself first and let them wait here for him. The guy asked Lu if he would go down to the Ovda? Lu said someone has to do dangerous things. Chen said that the other places had been thoroughly investigated. Was this lake left as the last suspicious place? Hat said definitely yes. Chen said then there was a good chance that it had a contaminated source. Lu told them not to worry, he'd go down and see what's up. The underwater operation is not very dangerous. Chen said that the underwater operation is definitely very dangerous. Then why would he take the risk? Chen said to immediately call the Special Forces team. They should arrive on the spot within half an hour. Have them extract all the water from the lake and investigate immediately. And then they arrived and started sucking the water out of the lake. While Lu and the man watched the whole thing, Chen said that fighting mind distortion is a dangerous job. If a mistake is made, not only are they in danger, but an uncontrollable disaster can occur. Therefore, those who do their work should always follow 2 principles. First, if a problem can be solved with material resources, then use them. Second, if the problem can be solved with fire, let them create it. Chen said enough is enough, the support squad is on its way. Investigation team, get to work, get ready to light the fire at any moment. Chen said the logistics units are coming back after the water is pumped out. Guys, they'll need to do some research. At this point, they are still unable to determine if the affected source has a high or low transmission level. If it turns out to be highly contagious, most will have to stay away as they don't want a whole mob to break out. Otherwise there will be trouble. Lu said that he now understood why the fee was so high. If he or the group's investigation is affected by the distortion, they will be killed immediately. Chen said that she likes Lu's work attitude. She will help him apply for the extra reward. Lu said, now that's more like it. 17 went down there and said that she was very interested and enjoyed playing here. And she laughed loudly again. But then 17 pointed to a puddle and told Lu to look. And then Lu heard someone saying that Qin was to blame for his death. It was a bunch of fish saying that Qin was to blame for everything, and for killing him too. Chen asked, what's going on? Should they let them report the situation to her? Fish said that he and Qin had no fate or hatred. So why did he kill him? Lu covered his ears and said that this was the source of the distortion. And at that moment they became furious, and started attacking. But then the guys backed up, but some were captured in the monster's possession. They asked what was going on. Lu saw the device lying next to him. But from the earpiece, the commander ordered them to retreat. The guys who were outside the fence saw their teammates flying in the air and didn't understand what was going on either, Lu said, thinking he seemed to understand. Just then he saw one of the monsters heading towards him. He realized he wouldn't have time to react, and that's when 17 came to the rescue and helped Lu, turning him into one of the strongest spiders. 17 said she was here to help him. Lu thanked her, but something else was bothering him. Han said it was a mind attack. Judging from the data from the instruments, there was an explosion of mental power comparable to the explosion of 200 mutants. A being of a higher psyche level has appeared. A plague of mind distortion has broken out. The transmission level of the mind distortion shifts to medium level. The danger level shifts to high level for now. Chen said for Lu to retreat from there immediately. Han said it was a warning to the entire investigation team, but the guys couldn't do anything while they were in the monster's hands and the captain ordered the others to dodge. Lu saw the attack beams attacking him and escaped to a secluded place for him. He watched everything and wondered what he should do. Han said that it is assumed that the target is a level 1 psychic being. 3 armed members of the investigation team have already been infected. She suggests immediately evacuating the survivors and then sending a team of city patrol to confront and destroy the psychic creatures with fire. Chen said it's decided. And also prepare the helicopter. She will immediately fly to the scene. Chen told Lu to retreat immediately and orders everyone to move back 500 meters. Lu says he can't leave. Chen asked him what he said. Lu said that the 3 members of the investigation team were not infected, they were just being controlled. There's also no way out. He's going to sort it all out. Han asked, what is he going to do? Chen yelled for him not to do anything, it's too dangerous. 17 smiled and told Lu that she would go with him. Lu accepted her help and agreed. The guys were screaming that their strength was running low, but in the hands of the monsters, they were trying to kill Lu so he wouldn't get in their way. But Lu could deflect all their attacks, and said they weren't fast enough. And then Lu made the decision to attack them. Lu grabbed one of the guys, and he ducked so Lu wouldn't kill him. But Lu grabbed the monster by the throat, and the guy sighed. The guys in the office were asking, what on earth is this guy doing? After all, he's trying to stand up for himself. One against all. Han thought that pollutant number 41 could hurl 3 armed men into the air and control them. That means he has unrealistic contamination abilities. Of course, she didn't expect Lu to throw himself under bullets at a mental monster. Even though spider-class humans can dodge a bullet, he would still die if he got hit. Han saw Lu's eyes and said that he was completely insane. And of course incredibly dangerous to monsters. Hat told Chen to look at it. The guy said that the surveillance team decided to immediately retreat after Lu saved them, which means they most likely didn't get infected. Chen said for Lu to immediately retreat with the surveillance team. Chen heard Lu say that it was the monster's turn. Chen asked the guys what he was doing. Lu saw where the monster's energy was coming from and 17 said they were doing the right thing. That's exactly what you should do to them. But that wasn't all. The monster grew larger and took over the entire perimeter. Lu stood in the middle alone with his sister. Lu saw a group of monsters attacking him, but here he laughed and considered it as enthusiasm. Lu didn't wait for them to attack, and decided to attack himself, killing each of them, one by one. But that wasn't all. The monster's roots started coming out, right next to the guys. The boys asked what was that. Lu said he'd lose if those shadows surrounded him first, but if Sis got ahead of him, screw them up. Lu saw what seemed to be a tree over there fighting using those shadows. But if he looked closely, why did they seem so familiar to him? Lu said it didn't matter and told 17 that this battlefield was now completely hers. Whatever she wanted, she could do with them. Qing City said that workers at the scene reported seeing the shadow of a creature with tentacles with human facial features. Is the human shadow at the top of the vine a person seeking revenge on Qing? Their bodies are destroyed, but here the souls have been absorbed and merged with the creature. Hout said so those who had previously told Qing to take revenge were just mind-distorting beings affected by the distortion of their bodies. But now they were the most real mind-distorting beings. Hat asked, then what is Lu doing now? Chen said that he is using his own methods to destroy the source of the distortion. Han said that one thing was clear, the target was above the first level distortion source level. But it was not yet to reach the second level. Because she launched the attack and infected the members of the investigation team, she can be said to have a degree of self-awareness. But emptying the lake and doing the tests didn't disturb her, so the level of self-awareness isn't that high. With this way of development, and low level of self-awareness then, in the beginning why did she target Qin? Qin said that this incident and distortion happened because of people who wanted to take revenge on Qin. Hence, the first revenge-hungry person, Chui, is the key to their problem. Han said to completely resolve this distortion incident, they need to find Chui Wan's corpse. Under normal circumstances, they naturally need to understand his logic and find the root of the problem. But maybe we should use Lu's method to directly solve the problem? Lu was telling the monster that he wasn't fast enough. If he didn't stop him, they would all die today. 17 headed for the root, and said she wanted to eat it. Lu told her not to eat any of it. She might get a stomachache. 17 took a bite and said she wanted to eat it. And then she grabbed it and started pulling it, but then the monster was in pain, and 17 ripped off its tentacle and stepped aside. Lu asked, "What just happened?" 17 said it was scared. Lu wondered what it was afraid of. A sentient being could be scared too, Qin said. Attention all units, immediately grab the chance to start the purge. Uncover the source of the distortion. Lu be on the lookout. An hour later the guy said what he found, and it was of course a dead body. Qin asked Lu if he could be dangerous. Is it Chui? Lu said no, it's Qin Jian. But then the man shouted, did they find something? But then the guys pointed their guns at him. The man was surprised and asked what was going on. Why were they pointing guns at him? Lu asked him who he was. The man asked what he meant. Han said she suggests he tell it straight and see what the reaction is. Qin said right, and to have them on standby. Lu said to the man, if he is Qin Jian, then who was the corpse they just dug up? The man asked, what corpse? Lu said that just a minute ago they found the source of the distortion at the bottom of that lake, a corpse. And that corpse was him. If he's long dead, who's in front of him now? The man said that's impossible. If you dug him up, then who is he? 17 took her brother's hand and said he looked like the fruit from that tree. And then Lu remembered something, the human shadows from the strange tree fighting him, they remind him of someone. And now he realizes they all look like Qin, but then Qin couldn't stand it, and started running away saying that they aren't real, they are all fake. They just want to hurt him. He knew nothing good was going to happen outside the walls. They all wanted to hurt him. Lu didn't understand what was going on. Qin's speed and movements were not normal for a human. The guy said that Qin was about to run for the walls. Qin ordered them to grab him faster, and at that moment, the guys launched bullets at him. And Qin died and bled on the monster ground. Han asked Lu, did that man turn into Chui Wang? But no one said anything, and they started to get rid of the murders. Lu looked at the guys and saw that Qin had been shot by the victim, covered by a small blanket. Lu looked at all of this and wasn't surprised anymore, but in a moment a helicopter appeared over his head. And then Qin came out. She said that no matter what happens next, the purification mission is complete. She would help him apply for the allowance. Lu said, but this incident. Qin said that a certain group of researchers and analysts would be assigned to this task. Qin said they are in the process of solving the problem. Rarely do accidents happen without an explanation. Well, as they search for clues, investigate and analyze, they usually manage to understand the logic behind the incident. She hopes this case will be no exception. But really, looking at the current situation, she wouldn't say they didn't have any leads, so the group has already reported back to him. Guys, did they hear the fish talking? Lu remembered that's what happened. Qin had said that fish couldn't talk, and she couldn't hear anything through the earpiece. So most likely they were all under the influence of the distortion source, seeing and hearing hallucinations. But also still said Qin, it was worth digging a little deeper. For example, those fishes were shouting that Qin should pay with his life. But then what kind of Qin should do that? But then Qin interrupted Lu and said that was enough and let him follow her. There's still work to be done. Arriving at the second satellite city, the security officer Qin told Lu to start by having him sit down and get some rest. She has some other things to do, she will find him later. Lu was sitting in the office and he said it was so quiet. And at that moment, 17 was with him, too, and sitting down at the table she was eating candy. 17 told Lu they were so delicious, she really liked them. Lu said to eat them all then, but then the door opened and Lu pretended to eat all the candy. Chin came in and said she was back. Chin thought that Lu liked sweets. Does he like to eat sweets after using his abilities? Chin said that a thorough investigation had been conducted. No remnants of mind powers were found on the lake. In other words, this mind distortion case, codenamed 041, can be declared successfully mopped up. But this lab report shows that the samples collected at the site where Chui's body was dumped are consistent with Chin's sample, and the source of distortion 041 at the bottom of the lake. They still had questions, but at least there would be no more casualties. Lu looked at her, and said that was wonderful. Chin thought, his current state and the time when he fought a mind creature above the first level, is it really the same person? She feels like she's about to go crazy. Chin said that investigating the source of the distortion 041 and further investigation will be handed over to someone else. Now they need to discuss and analyze the cleanup work done this time. Under normal circumstances, they do the cleanup, finding the logic and the bulk of the source. However, here they were unable to find these two components, but they still solved the problem. So, does Lu have some kind of secret ability? If not, how could he single-handedly defeat a distortion source with a mind power of almost 200? Lu asked her about hidden abilities. Why would she ask such a thing? Chin said that based on their preliminary assessment, Lu is of the spider class, with rank K abilities. His mental energy level of 100 units fluctuates with an amplitude of 50 units. A normal mutant has a lower mental energy level than one whose energy is already distorted and has a similar level. That is why they rarely let any mutant handle such a creature alone. And usually they look for another way out, analyzing the essence of the distorted creature and its behavior pattern. However, Lu decided to immediately eliminate the source of the distortion. Forget sample 036, even sample 041 suffered the same fate. This approach is extremely straightforward, as well as presumptuous. It's not something they encounter very often. Lu said that it wasn't him, but his sister who handled the distortions. She was the one who absorbed them. Chin asked, in that case, where is she? Lu pointed her finger and said it was in front of her. Chin realized that she couldn't see anyone. Is this kid playing a joke on her? She said that they would forget about it for now, as she was more interested in other things right now. Chin asked Lu why he attacked even after she ordered him to retreat. Did he know from the beginning that the three in the surveillance team were not distorted? When, and how did he realize it? Lu said that he just saw it. Since he could see the monster, he immediately realized that those three were only under control and were not distorted. Besides, his sister was handling everything, and he was coordinating. The monster was frightening, but he didn't see much problem in removing it. Chin asked what Lu was trying to say, that he could see the distorted field. Lu asked her, and she didn't? Maybe that's their problem. Chin said that it was a good job. He can go back to his place and have a good rest. She will inform about further investigation later. Lu said okay, and also wanted to say something else. But Chin interrupted him and said that even if some of his actions were strange, he could relax. Mutants' mental abilities had changed a lot since the advent of the Blood Moon. She had even seen a few cases where someone could steal someone else's abilities. Lu said that actually he wanted to ask about the reward. Chin said that the funds would be transferred to his bank account soon. 17 told Lu that so many people were looking at him with evil intentions. That girl with the huge breasts kept questioning him. Lu told her not to say bad things about those who pay them. Chin thought about Lu's words about seeing the distortion. She didn't think Lu would have such abilities. But the more varied his abilities, the greater the chance of him losing control. And then she pressed a button and hooked up all the people. The old man said they had a strange case. Not only can he visualize, he does it with extreme precision. He suspects that this is due to the fact that he possesses an incredible level of mental energy. At first glance, it's even safe to say that he has broken the 300-unit mark. The man said they weren't here to admire him. The problem now is whether they should break the rules and hire such a dangerous mutant. Chin asked the man, did he see Lu perform? The man said that as well as the fact that he was not himself. He even showed signs of split personality. The man said did they even think about the danger he could pose to a second city, or even the capital if he went on a rampage? Chin asked, then what is he suggesting? The man said that he wanted Lu to be under constant surveillance. The man said he'd rather pay for his whole life than let him be involved in more outbreaks of distortion. He's just a patient with a highly unstable mental state. Chen asked, what if it was the surveillance that made him lose his temper? Don't forget that it was, as he put it, the patient who helped avoid the Qin disaster. Besides, not a single one of the surveillance team was injured. The guy said that Minister Shen's worry is understandable. This young man is extremely unstable. His mental energy level might even be higher than they think. But then Professor Ba showed up and said he already knew what they were seeing the discussion about. He'd read the information about that guy. From what he has seen, there is an 80% risk of him losing his temper, but that estimate is inflated. He would like to share an extremely important report that they should look at. 3 days later, Lu was walking around the office wondering what was going on with the atmosphere here. But then his phone rang and introduced himself as Han Bin from the Special Department of Warp Purification. Han informs Lu of the conclusion. Sample 041 was analyzed. Whenever a misrepresentation case ends, they perform the appropriate actions to identify special cases. Once everything is confirmed, they inform the performer. Lu said they have a hard job and his respect for them. Han said there's nothing complicated about it. Here's the final report on sample 041, and the corpses that are Qin and Su. According to them, they were sent to seal the shrine at Qin. In the area where Qin's corpse was found, they no longer found any traces of mental energy, but they are still setting up blockades according to the rules. In a year's time, not a living soul will be able to get through. Han said the state is thanking him for saving their lives. Lu said he would have saved them anyway. Han said that Lu had made a great contribution to the fight against Distortion 041. The reward of 30,000 yuan had already been transferred to his account. In addition, Supervisor Chen applied for an additional reward of 6,000 yuan. But on top of that, she has also organized a full evaluation for him, which is due in a few days. So let Lu be prepared. Lu asked, what's the other assessment? Han said the assessment of his condition and abilities. Before hiring someone, they always evaluate them. Lu was surprised to hear Han say that he had accepted the job. And then he happily said that he understood her. Lu asked Han what caused all this. Han said that according to the deeper investigation, the distorted special type 041-1 was the culprit. The scavenger who handled Qin's body, who was later dug up from the bottom of the lake. Wang's DNA was also matched. Behind this was a distorted special type 041-2, a shapeshifter that had turned into Su Wang after his death. They contacted the Shifan Transportation Company, which employs 4 people, and Su Wang's acquaintances, but everything they know about him dates back a year. As for the 3 men who had accompanied Qin Ra to the auction, they all admitted that Qin Ra had killed Siyu Wang. Strangely enough, by that time, many people began to notice that Qin Ra's appetite had suddenly increased. Lu asked if it did anything for them. Han said they weren't sure themselves, since some mutants can easily have their memories altered. Lu asked, what kind of absurdity is this? Han said that the research department proposed the hypothesis that Qin Ra was just a victim of a severe distortion. He could have been put in his head that he was Siyu Wan, but he didn't know it and thought he was Qin Ra. The scavenger is known to be able to absorb, digest and assimilate foreign objects. So his clone was created when he himself had just become infected. There's no major conclusion yet, but there are a couple of points. To begin with, only recently infected creatures continue to despise the distortions because they still retain their sanity. The entities that appeared first may not have been fully internalized, which is one way of hunting distortion. In the second, the infected beings begin to suffer from hallucinations. Hallucinations may vary, but their ultimate outcome is to destroy the victim's self-control until they turn into monsters and eventually consume themselves. The Qin Ra they saw might be at an early stage. After being at the bottom of the distortion lake for a while, Chu Wang became heavily infected and turned into Qin Ra. The research department suggests that in time he could have fully become Qin Ra and all his memories would have come back to him, such as his appearance. Unfortunately, they lost this piece of the investigation due to the goggles. Lu said what we have is an infected Qin Ra killed Su Wang and created a monster that consumed him. Su Wan's monster took revenge by killing Qin Ra and inherited his appearance and memories? Han said that they have nothing to worry about now, as the less dangerous warped one will be sealed in the vault. The high-tech equipment will ensure that a case of escape of the deformed does not resurface again. Lu knew that he had already earned 36,000 for this job. So he was officially employed. A few hours later, Lu was on his way home, and on the way he met 17. She said her brother was back. But then someone attacked him, and attacked him with a knife. But 17 got there in time and blocked the attack. Lu yelled out, "What's here and who did it?" The guy said that judging by his reflexes, they were in the same class as him. Lu turned around and saw a guy, in a suit. The guy said he was just testing Lu and his abilities. The guy said his name is Gecko, he's from Colonel Chin. Lu said, "What if he didn't react in time? Does he know how dangerous it is?" Dangerously asked Gecko. "My brother, they are a spider class after all, what are we talking about?" 17 asked, should she deal with him? But that wasn't all there was to it. Lu's parents heard it too, and were watching outside. Lu saw them and thought it had been a long time since his family had been so united. Lu said next time, he's gonna throw that spear back at him. Now let him follow him. Gecko told Lu that it was like a tradition among every mutant. And he'd cross 2 cities to see him, so he shouldn't invite him to his place. But let Lu tell him why he was suddenly angry. Lu said they would forget about it. Why did Colonel Chen summon him to him? Gecko said it was because of an emergency. And from her attitude, he's obviously a big shot. Before you pass the assessment, you'll need to deal with the 6 Qin gang members that hang around this town. Lu asked, what do they have to do with the evaluation? Gekken said Lu will find out when the time comes. Lu told his little sister not to do anything in case Gekken's neck was snapped. Gekken asked him what he was talking about. Lu said it was about his sister. I guess she didn't like what he did last time. But don't worry, she follows his instructions most of the time. Gekken asked, is it true? It didn't look like Lu was joking though. No wonder everyone thinks he's dangerous. Gekken said it was about time. The notice of assessment came. In 15 minutes, the Qing building in the north of the city. Lu asked, do they give advance notice? Gekken said Lu has no idea how much they don't like it when someone is late. But they're a completely different matter with him. He can't wait to see what Lu can do. 17 asked Lu, should he get help? Lu said no, and said they'd better take the subway. Lu thought, that Gekken guy is aware that this branch could safely get to Zhou's building? Arriving at Qing Zhou's building, Lu saw that Gekken had gotten here as well. Gekken said that he lost because of him. He thought Lu had gotten lost, and then came back. But who knew he took the subway to leave? Gekken said for them to forget, maybe they should climb the building right away? Lu said the guy likes to make things complicated. Gekken asked if he can't take a joke anymore. Upon entering the building, Chen said, here they are. These people would help him during his examination. Experts in all fields of endeavor, from neurology and psychology to occult science and beyond, are gathered here. Lu asked, what about the 6 members from Qin's gang? Chen was surprised and asked what he meant, but then the doctor laughed, and said it was probably about them. This time the evaluation will be done under their supervision. Don't be too nervous, they know what they're doing. Gekken tells Lu not to look at him like that. Chen said she can see that they met, but I'll remind you again. His name is Gecko and he agreed to help him. Since his abilities are similar to his, he'll be his mentor for a while. Though he's as good a mentor as a pine tree. Gecko saw the professors and said they hadn't seen each other in a long time. But then they chased him away and said he was blocking the way. The old man told Lu that it was time for them to go for a checkup. First, they would check the limit of his mental power, so that they could help him with his future development, and avoid a situation where things got out of control. Chen said that this research would also help him develop mutant abilities. Due to the fact that special mutants can balance misuse of powers, they also give all mutants a briefing. Gecko said that's the phrase that always stuck on the record. Do what you have to do, whether he can or not. Gecko remembered that like when they tried to make a cat out of him. And then they headed for the shooting test. Chen said that they would test his shooting ability first. He had probably never had any professional training in it, so the training would start right away. Chen checked the weapon and gave it to Lu and said the training was over. Lu said that's kind of fast. Gecko told Lu to forget. If he was taught how to take the safety off and aim the gun, then the training was a success. Lu drew his gun and said he had fired a shot. But then the professors saw nothing and asked where? Chen said to Gecko to help him. Gecko told Lu to listen, it was his first time. Just calm down and concentrate. First he would have to figure out how accurate the weapon was, then he would have to get more confident, and then he would have to aim and fire. And then 17 took Lu's hands in hers and said somehow. And then he fired, and Gecko said bullseye. Lu disassembled the guns and 17 said that shooting and disassembling guns is no fun at all. Lu said he didn't think it fit him. Can we proceed with another test? Gecko told Lu they were born to use guns. Without one, they are nothing. The professor said it would be enough that he had already shown a natural talent for handling weapons. But then 17 told Lu, after a few tests, that she was his little sister, not his helper. When he's in danger she'll always help, but not when there's nothing going on. 17 said that now it was time for her to have some fun. And then she started laughing loudly and climbing the walls. But then 17 climbed on top of the professor's head and asked him why he had a wig. And then Lu blushed at that. And now it was time for a decision. Chen asked what were their conclusions. The professor said that the ability is rank C. But here's the potential. And then a woman came in and said the last test was passed. There was a problem with his mental health, more normal than most of them. And then Chen was surprised to hear that Lu was normal. The woman said she had a conversation with him about his family, and being in the shelter at a young age, and what he had experienced subsequently. She received a responsive response to all of this. He held nothing back, and described in detail his relationship and interactions with his family. They even had a serious conversation about his split personality, and the possibility of his biological family. Honestly, she hadn't expected him to be so sincere. The man said that after the blood moon incident, there are no mentally normal people left. How is that possible? The woman said that if he meant that he might have lied, she would have noticed it. He's kind and optimistic. This may have been influenced by one person, namely the previous director of the Blood Moon Orphanage. You might say, during all this madness, the young man was able to maintain clarity of mind and sanity throughout, while following moral principles. The man said that since he has 3 family members, and his abilities are inherited from his younger sister, it can be assumed that he has 2 other abilities, which he himself has no idea about yet. The man said it's entirely possible. He has incredible mental strength. During an aptitude test, instead of grabbing an apple, he just stretched his arm forward. What's even more amazing is that he realized he was wearing a wig and pulled it off. His wig is custom made and therefore fits tightly on his head. It takes a little effort to remove it, but he somehow moved it unnoticed by him. With his incredible control, he could have easily ripped his head off. Chen thought, if Lu really was involved in the incident at the Blood Moon shelter, there would not only be corpses lying around. Everyone who was at the scene would be scattered everywhere. A few days earlier, Second Guide City, Watchtower. The man said that this document contained information about a mysterious explosion that occurred 10 years ago in the Second Guide City. The 3-story orphanage was completely destroyed. There were only 2 survivors. The first was Lu, the second was the current headmaster of the Blood Moon School, Jie Xiao. At the time, their department was understaffed, so they hastily closed the case. But looking at it now, many things don't seem to add up. For example, no explosives or any explosive residue was found at the scene. Based on his analysis, this incident could very well have happened because he lost control of his mental power. This guy has a good chance of losing control of his powers, but he's working hard to make sure it doesn't happen again. In between, he attended a Research Alliance conference and discovered that S-class mutants had already been discovered within those walls. If they get recruited into the army, what will become of them? The man doesn't know how to react to this, but they need to organize an evaluation for Lu as soon as possible. The man said he was the only one who felt like his score was over 500. The girl said, "What's wrong with that, if afterward they can go directly to the second stage?" Chen asked the professors, did they agree to accept Lu? Everyone raised their hands and agreed. Gakko said he was about to die of boredom. How long would they be? By the way, when did Lu discover his powers? Gakko told Lu to forget and let him tell him about his first time. It was a cold winter day. He was walking down the street as usual until he saw a young girl working the night shift despite the cold and snow. When he saw her, he wanted to buy her a cup of coffee and keep her warm, even though he had $50 left in his pocket. The girl said to Gakko, "How about playing with her?" Gakko realized that for her sake, he didn't feel bad about spending them. She was very touched by his act, and at the same time very sincere, but in that unfortunate moment, the police got to him, and he had to deal with them quickly. And at that moment, it was like he got a second wind, and was able to escape from them, because at that moment it smelled fried. It was at that moment that he felt he had the ability. Since Lu was now a member of their family, sooner or later he would have to learn about the other side of the coin of every employee in this institution. And to be honest, there aren't many normal people here. For example, there's this drunk who keeps going on and on about a dragon in the sky. But there is also Dolly. She is charming in her own right that could drive any man crazy, but in reality she is too naive and innocent. But that also leaves Captain Chin. By the way, does he know what color underwear she wears? Lu asked. Is it even normal to talk about their boss like that? But then 17 said it was pink. Lu asked Gakko, is it pink? Since Lu knows, tell me more about what type of underwear she wears. And then Lu saw, from his desire to know the boss's underwear. And then Chin came in and asked them what they were talking about. Chin said that Lu's examination is over. The overall report will be known later. For now, he would need to become more familiar with his abilities before they brought him up to speed. Well, since Gecko's abilities are similar to his, he'll help out. And to help him adjust, the two of them will run a few cleaning errands. Regarding errands, tonight there will be an operation to clean up the infected. According to the preliminary report of the team, the danger level of the assignment is at sea level. Gecko will contact you later to go over the details. Lu's main task on the operation is to gain experience and watch how the group leader Gecko performs. By the way, before she forgets, have Lu read this document? Lu asked, codenamed the Lone Wanderer? Chin told Gecko, unless he was particularly eager to run naked through the Forbidden City until his legs fell off. Don't let him talk to the recruit about her behind her back. Chin said that, by the way, she is wearing all black today. And then 17 said that she was lying. Upon arriving at the mission, Gecko said they had arrived at the location. Now let Lu listen to it. Since Captain Chin had let him take it with him, he wouldn't be particularly ceremonious. They spiders always specialized in learning on the go. Lu won't expect theories or operating principles from him. All he needs to do is observe him. Gecko said he wouldn't hide that he was a little worried. Han said that all the groups were ready and could proceed. Gecko told Linda, his girl, how many days, how many nights. He missed her voice. The girl said he didn't know what he meant. She's Thai. Gecko said that the name Thai doesn't suit such a beautiful voice. Better already let them stop at Linda. It gives him goosebumps. Thai said that Linda Chu would be best then. She will now give them information on their assignment and distortion. Gecko asked Lu if he remembered what he had been told earlier. Let him watch him and absorb everything like a sponge. By the way, the information gathering team would be his most important comrade in future operations. Let Lu just imagine for a second how boring it would be to do an assignment alone if you don't even have anyone to talk to. Every information gathering and analyzing officer is specially matched with them. So they'd better get it over with quickly so he has more time to talk later on. Lu thought about the special handler. Then was it possible that Han Ben could be paired with him? Gecko said that for them, full of specialists. Flirting with the opposite sex during an assignment task number 1. By the way, Linda, she hasn't responded to him since last time, abruptly cutting off contact. Is she in a relationship with anyone or? The girl said her name was Tai. And that time she needed to take care of someone. Gecko said if she didn't want to tell the truth, then let her. Don't think he doesn't know how things work on her team. They wouldn't let you bring a kid into their office. Tai said who said it was a baby? And no one cancelled that she could have met a guy in his 20s. Gecko asked what is she talking about. Gecko said it's a good time to talk. Lu told his little sister to go with him to see if anything would help. And then 17 said no, let Lu give her candy first. Lu said it was bad for little children to eat a lot of sweets, or their teeth would get sore. 17 asked if he thought she was a child. Lu said she would always be a child to him. 17 said Lu didn't even want to spoil her. 17 said she didn't care, she wanted candy. The black one that's sweet at first and bitter afterward. 10 candies, and then Lu pulled a candy bar out of her pocket, and gave it to her little sister. And then she climbed on top of Lu and said they were going. Gecko asked Lu, did he just get on now? He thought Lu was taking the subway again. He asked Lu if he could see anything, and then Lu used his eye and analyzed the building where people were working and shouting that they had to work. Gecko asked Lu if he could see the man. Lu saw him and asked who he was. And what is he doing? Gecko said for Lu to try to focus his attention on him and be able to understand what he was saying. 17 said she could help. And then Lu concentrated and began to hear the man say they had to work. They survived the disaster and therefore deserved to get the seats of the people who died. No different than dogs. There's no telling how many savages roamed the forbidden lands. And there's no telling what they'd be capable of if they wanted their places. The man said that only by working hard would they prove that they were not living in this town for nothing. If they stop working, they will starve to death, just like those outside the city. Try harder. How are they different from corpses, even if they can't do it? Lu asked, is that the distortion? Gecko said that Chen said something about his ability to visualize, so what is he seeing now? Lu said he couldn't see anything, just a man and that was it. Gecko said that in that case, his observation was justified. That man is a former politician, and technically, at this point, he is a mutant. But a mutant like him would be far more terrifying than a distortion, since 100 workers in the factory have already been affected by him. Tai said that the manager of Yunsun Garment Factory, Chin, is a full 40 years old. Arrived in the city at the age of 27 and founded this garment factory, which has now closed down due to bankruptcy. It's all to blame, bad management. 10 days earlier, someone had detected an anomaly in this factory and reported it to the guard post. But when the surveillance team arrived, it turned out that the situation had long been out of control. The workers had already been lightly infected, so they blindly attacked anyone who entered their territory and tried to interfere with their work, and then infected them. It is now known that they have been working nonstop for 2.5 days, and there is a good chance that they will continue until they die if they are not stopped. Added to all this is the fact that Chin is about to go on a rampage. If that happens, the area of contamination could increase significantly and cover the nearest factories. Therefore, the higher-ups have ordered a cleanup. Lu asked in what way? Like she said, there are about 100 workers in that factory. Gecko said their job is to clean up contamination, not eliminate it, and that priority will never change. And if there is a way to handle everything without spilling blood, why not take it? And don't forget that these workers are slightly infected, so there's still a chance to save them. Gecko asked Linda if she had any advice on how to handle all this. She said her advice was to eliminate the mutant from afar, with a special anesthetic gun. The tranquilizer will work on him, as Chin still has human habits. Gecko said that since this chubby guy can control hundreds of people at once, his mental power should not be underestimated. There was a good chance that he would block the bullet with a barrier before it hit him. Tai said that for that reason, she will order the support team to set off an explosion in the eastern part of the factory. This should distract many, including Chin. And even if he is able to use the mental barrier, it is not a fact that it will be stable because his concentration ability is at a low level. All they have to do is take one shot. But it only takes a few seconds, so it's their only chance. Gecko skehaladin and pulled out a briefcase saying it's time, baby. And standing up on the wall he said it was time to end it all. Tai said she was starting the countdown. And as she counted down to the end she shouted into the microphone that fire. And then Gecko fired a shot in the air, and it hit the back of Sina's head. Gecko says it's a bullseye, and it's come to him and Lu to mop up the place. Gecko grabbed him and said they did it pretty fast. They eliminated the ringleader, then why are the others still working? Gecko said to let Lu recognize that he is a professional at what he does. Tai said he did great, she'll send out a support group right away. And then 17 told Lu to look at it. Lu asked what's in it? And then the girl was under the table and asked Lu why he wasn't working. Gecko said there's a girl here, looks 7 to 8 years old and has an obscure dot between her eyebrows. Tang asked, a girl? According to their information, Chen had an 8th daughter who died last year. The cause of death was Chen's carelessness because he was distracted by a phone call. She was trying to pick up a toy he dropped on the road. And as a result, she was hit by a car. The girl asked them why everyone is working, but only the 2 of them are slacking off. It's not according to the rules. And then there was silence and Gecko said it was a level 2 desecration. Lu asked, "What is it?" Tan said that the component content is similar to pollution and there is a certain degree of connection between the two. But he has a drastically different level of self-awareness apparently. After Chen underwent mutation, he used his mental power to recreate his daughter. And it's worth noting that a level 2 desecration isn't easy to create. We can say for sure that its mental power is at a high level. The girl said that her father used to say that who doesn't work doesn't eat, and so these guys should be punished. And then Gecko couldn't stand it and told them to try it. And then his knife went through the girl and hit the tree. Gecko said they don't have a physical body. The girl asked them why they keep slacking off, and in a moment all the workers surrounded the guys and started attacking. And Gecko started attacking them, and after running up a little bit he asked Lunda, "Is there anything on her mind?" Tai said that it would be difficult for the spiders to deal with a level 2 desecration, so she advises them to back off. She will send a request to headquarters to call for a Dali princess. Gecko says, "Dali again?" He thinks she can handle them. Lu said he was going to try something. And then Tai said to Gecko, "Stop him now!" But it was too late. Tai said she was switching them to a second private channel. Tai asked her why she was doing that. Tai said he has the ability to damage contaminants, so in fact he would be able to deal with them. According to the information Colonel Chen had given him, shows that there is a high chance that he could go into a frenzy at any time, so he should not engage in those matters that could easily cause psychological stress. Although the opponents are mostly adults, there is a child among them, and it is quite possible that her mental trauma is far worse than the others. But then 17 said she was having a lot of fun, and asked Lu if they should take care of her. Lu attacking said no. 17 asked him why? Lu said because she didn't smell threatening. 17 said she wasn't real anyway. Lu said it looked like the real thing. And then Lu said this is where they were done. She saw the girl and told her to listen to him. Lu asked her, "Can she stop all of this?" Tai asked Gecko, "Is he going to stop it?" Gecko said, "There is no need for that yet." Gecko said that Lu didn't attack right away. Tai asked how he was going to deal with her then. Gecko said that it seems that Lu is negotiating. Lu asked his sister if it was possible that she too was a defilement he had created, and that girl kept repeating why Lu didn't work, but was shedding from work. Because he who doesn't work doesn't eat. Lu realized he was starting to lose control. And then Lu pointed both hands at her and told her to cover her mouth. And then a girl in a fancy dress appeared and said she was surprised. He really isn't suited to deal with this kind of problem. And that's when Lu saw his mom. His mother told Lu that when he had a baby with his girlfriend, he would understand how things work. And then the child started shouting louder for them to work. The mother told the child that it was too early to think about working at her age. Children her age go to school. The mother said to the child, how irresponsible is her father for making her think about work? And how vile and greedy must he be to create all this? Not even looking at the fact that it was his greed that led to the ruin of the factory and the death of his daughter. He truly believed that everything he did was for his daughter's sake, and even believed that his sweet daughter would always understand and support him. How confident do you have to be to come up with such thoughts? The girl still shouted that she wanted to work. The mother thought and looked at her and pointed with her hand. And then she fell silent. She said it was better for children to obey their elders. And then she took her toy and cut his head open. Suddenly, the connection between the child and her was broken. The girl looked at the mother very angrily. And the mother said she was not obedient. And that's why she did that. And in a moment the girl disappeared and broke into small pieces. Tai wondered what was going on there. Gecko said it was a level 2 desecration. But then he said he didn't fully understand what was going on. Tai told him to switch to the main channel, quick. Just then, 17 waved to her mother and said goodbye. Tai said to Mr. Wanderer, did he manage to clear the level 2 desecration? Lu said yes, it's done. Tai said great, and the support group will be here soon. Lu asked Gecko what will happen to them. Gecko said they are lucky as they are lightly infected. The support group will send them to psychotherapy. Many of them will be cured in no time, and saving someone's life is a bigger accomplishment than building 7 buildings. Although what they've done here is comparable to building a skyscraper, but enough about them. Lu is something else. How did he handle that girl? Lu asked him, and didn't he see it? Gecko said he saw Lu take the toy away from her. Lu said it was a toy that existed physically, so he tried to see if he could scare her by taking it away. Gecko said Lu grabbed a toy and ripped its head off. And the level 2 desecration was so scared that he just took it and went back to where he came from. Lu said that's exactly what it is. Can't everyone do that? Gecko said that, to be honest, this is the first time he's heard of it. Lu said it was to be expected. Tai said that based on the analysis of previous cases, trying to cleanse the defilement this way was, to some extent, effective, especially against monsters. However, according to his information, the defilement simply disappeared along with the effect on the workers, which doesn't seem like the result of her being scared. It was more like the connection between her and this world had been severed. Gecko asked Linda, what was this all about? He cleaned up the defilement. What's the point of picking on him? Linda told him to shut up. She asked the Wanderer, did he do anything else? Lu realized that she really could not be fooled. It was worth remembering his mother's words. He said that he thought the clues to this incident is that it was because of Chen's huge longing for his daughter that his mental power divided and took the form of his daughter, and because he subconsciously wanted to reduce his heartache, all his thoughts and actions were supported by this daughter. However, since this daughter exists solely in his illusions, her destruction, Tai said he could cause an interruption in communication with the 039 distortion. Good job, Wanderer. The support team will take care of the rest. Well, over and out. Gecko asked, what's the rush? Let Linda listen, he wanted to ask her something. What was it, she asked? Gecko said he wanted her to help him write his report. She said no. She had a baby to feed. Gecko told Lu that he was about to tell him something important. Even after a mission, he needed to be chipper. Lu asked what it was for. Gecko said that in order to get in a good mood to take and go hang out and relax at the club. Lu asked, and what's all this? Gecko said before the cuckoo flies completely. We need to have a lot of fun. Lu thought, giving into the fun? Is that part of the job too? Lu said for Gecko to listen, but will headquarters cover all these expenses? Gecko asked Lu, is he on the dock? No, of course not, that's not going to happen. A moment later Lu thought, then what's the point? Lu came to the office and had a tea party and said that Colonel Chen once told him to train in the training room. However, he didn't expect to be here alone, and then Han Bin joined in and said that she would be his mentor today in teaching him the basics. The first thing he needs to know about distortion, even information with the lowest level of access, is kept secret from ordinary people. The content of his training and any documents related to it must never be seen by ordinary people. But if the information leaks out, report it immediately to headquarters. They will delete everything. Lu said he understood. Didn't expect his mentor to be Han. It would be great to see her on screen. Han said the term distortion was used 27 years ago by the Lunar Eclipse Lab. At that time it was known as the Blood Moon Lab. Roughly speaking, research on specific distortions has been going on for less than 30 years. Many hypotheses have been based on theoretical assumptions only, and since the occurrence of special distortions has increased dramatically in recent years, the large amount of anecdotal evidence warrants additional research. So their goal is to figure things out as they go along. It is possible that they may not be able to explain all the existing assumptions and unnatural phenomena, but they will continue to search hard for answers. Lu said he'd take that under advisement. Han said then, the training will start right away. First, she will familiarize him with distortion and mental power. Lu wondered what really happened in that orphanage. He doesn't remember much about that period, and his family doesn't really want to talk about it. And then Lu came home, and her father yelled 17 for her to come down. Otherwise, let her blame herself. 17 told her father to catch her first before threatening her. Lu saw that nowhere is as good as home. But it's strange that a little sister dares to cross her father. She usually likes to slip away before things get too hot. Dad said 17, how dares she talk like that? Just because she got stronger by eating something, she believes in herself? If she's stronger, then let her take care of herself and don't come back. 17 said she didn't need to be hurt. But as soon as they get any stronger, then her father will regret his words today. The father asked Lu, what did he want? Lu said he bought some food here, and a bottle of wine to go with it. Lu asked if they could eat in peace as a family. At this time, her mother was talking to Miss Han and saying that once she moves here, they will be neighbors. and she is looking forward to her visiting in the future. The mother asked the father why he was raising his voice at the kids. She told Lu he shouldn't spend so much, especially not on her cheapskate father. His mother asked Lu how he was doing at work. Lu realized that her mother had many friends, but why he hadn't seen any of them. Lu said he was doing well at work. By the way, what happened at the factory? The mother told Lu that she was only passing by and saw the two of them standing there unable to handle that child. It was funny. How could she not intervene? Lu asked that child, was it real or? The mother said of course not. It's just a mutant subspecies. Lu asked, then what about them? Immediately everyone looked at him strangely. Lu's mother asked, did he doubt their existence? They have accompanied him all his life. Doesn't that make them real? But then Lu was surprised to hear his mother's words. Mother said she almost forgot. There was a letter for him. She wanted to give it to him as soon as he came. Sent from the orphanage. The mother said that of course she hadn't opened the envelope. Lu asked why she had sent him the letter. The mother was surprised to hear that it was her, and asked if the girl was calling for a snack. The next day, Lu bought groceries and said it should be enough. As expected, none of the family followed him to the shelter. But he didn't see anyone following him, and it was a very strange man. Lu came to the shelter, and looking out the window he was surprised, and thought, where is Xiao? But then he followed the same steps and put everything in the mailbox. But then someone told him to wait. And that's when Xiao came in and said she could barely get through to him. Or was he ignoring it on purpose? Xiao said that she just invited him for dinner. Why did he bring money again? And how much this time? It's only been a few days since he last visited her. And where is he getting all this from? Xiao asked Lu. He's not doing anything illegal, is he? Don't tell me he sold kidneys, Lu asked, wondering why she was having these thoughts. He was newly employed, and to top it all off, why his boss paid him handsomely for a case. Xiao asked, it's a job, is it dangerous? Lu told her not to get herself worked up. He really doesn't do anything, and the job is quite safe. The headquarters of this company is located in the city center, and the monthly salary is around $5,000. The company also provides other bonuses. How much he brought in is only a small part of what he earned. Xiao said that she believes him, but asks her not to do anything that could lead to a bad outcome. Lu said not to doubt her, because he still remembered the old headmaster's instructions. Xiao said that honestly, these little pranksters have everything from clothes to delicious food. Also, a few good people helped get them study materials. In addition, she was recently in administration and was upgraded. In the future, all the children will get an ID card and will be able to enroll in high school. They really don't need that much money. Lu thought that they had upgraded their skills despite the age of the children. Was it really the work of Ms. Chin and the mopping up department? Lu saw that she was a young and beautiful girl, but confined to a wheelchair. Lu told her she could use the extra money. It would be better to buy some goodies for the children. In the future he would move them to a bigger place. And also, about her legs. Xiao said she had already told him that they still had some left over from the last time he came. It was better to let him keep them. Xiao gave him the money and told him that if she needed anything, she would let him know. And moreover, although she doesn't know what his job is, he clearly didn't earn so much by simple labor. He should eat well every day. Lu asked Xiao if he could ask her something. The year that happened in the Blood Moon orphanage. No matter how hard he tries, there's no way he can remember anything from that time. Xiao told Lu not to dwell on the past, since it's better not to remember something that can bring a lot of pain. Xiao told him to forget about it, and suggested they go to dinner. They'll eat their fill. Lu felt Xiao's smile, and the children's smile made him feel warm at heart. But especially her smile. But then Lu noticed a man and saw his shadow, and said he finally showed himself. Lu drew his gun and fired. The man managed to dodge them all, and said the guy was sick, but one bullet managed to reach its target, and wounded the man. He asked Lu what he was doing in broad daylight. The man started to run briskly. Lu chased after him, hoping to catch up, and asked him where he was going. Lu kept chasing after him, going all the way across town. The man shouted to Lu that he couldn't catch up with him. And then Lu fell into the abyss. The man was surprised and asked why he had fallen, and then he told his little sister to help him. 17 showed up and grabbing his hand, helped him. Lu saw the man and said it was time to stop him. Lu saw that the man is not easy and fast, but that doesn't prove anything. Lu wondered if the man was trying to escape through the wall. But they have to stop him. He said they had to kill him. 17 took a revolver and shot the man. Lu said that a revolver with ordinary bullets was no match for the creature, but somehow he managed to tear his head off. Is his body more fragile than a human's? The man had been alive the whole time, and climbing the wall. 17 said she was done. Lu decided to chase after him, and called him a living bastard. 17 saw something strange and told Lu to look too. At that time, the man rode away on his motorcycle, trying to escape. But here come the level 4 military patrols. Tell Lu to say his name, or they'll turn him into a sieve. Lu pulled out his ID card and said he was his own. Things got ugly, but then Chen arrived and asked Lu where is the head he was talking about. Lu pointed his finger and said it was over there. Chen asked Lu how he found out about the mutant. Lu said he was just going about his business when suddenly he bumped into him, and then he felt something strange about him. Chen asked him why he chased him. Lu said because of his strange aura, and the prominent parasites surrounding his eyes. He was acting too weird that he even came out in the open at him. But at some point, those vermin had reached for him. That was why he chased after him, as he wanted to find out what it was all about. It seemed fast from the looks of it, but no faster than the gecko or him. Rather, he used those parasites to his advantage, to cling to buildings and fly. He had a hard time keeping up with him until eventually he got here and over the wall. All he could do was shoot his head off. Chen told Lu to wait. Did he decide to chase him just because he seemed strange? Lu said no. Another reason was that he was near the orphanage. Chen thought that just because he could pose a threat to the orphanage, Lu decided to get rid of him without blinking an eye. Lu said that also, he had his motorcycle ready outside the walls, clearly indicating that he wasn't just hanging around. Chen said he probably lives behind a wall, and those who live behind the wall can cause problems for them. And then the patrol came and said they found the head. Lu said he could move even without the head. How creepy. Chen said, considering how long he's been running without her, he doesn't seem to have much time left. Chen told the severed head to blink if it could hear her. Lu thought it was a girl who could communicate with her head. Chen told it to answer, "Who is he?" Chen put on her glasses and said it was useless, as expected, and ordered the cleanup. To open it up, Lu saw the suitcase and said they have the tools for every occasion always with them. Lu saw that he was contaminated. His brain doesn't quite look like a healthy person's brain, Chen said. What a change of consciousness. Has Lu ever met a marionette? A person can move without a head, but when it comes to a puppet, what effect would that have? His creator's abilities are similar to hers, but much stronger. He's turned man into a tool that can be controlled with consciousness. This is probably the work of a puppeteer. The puppeteer asked Lu, "Does such a thing exist in the world?" Chen said that there are currently 9 known classes, and the puppeteer class is one of them. But about his abilities, a professor from the main city has his own suspicions. He believes that Lu is not really a spider, but something else, and is the first representative of a new class. The bald professor also suggests naming Lu's class a happy family based on his abilities. Lu thought, which bald one specifically? They're all bald. Chen told them to take this sample to the lab for further testing. Let's see if they can find more information. Chen said that this incident should be taken seriously. The tragedy that happened 4 years ago in Guide City 4 cannot happen again. Lu asked her if she had any suspicions about who was behind all this. Chen said that outside the walls, in addition to the infected, there were many organizations, one of which was recruiting mutants. In terms of applying and developing special abilities, they are much crazier and more unbridled in that regard. Lu said if it was possible that they would target the orphanage again. Qing said that since they had been guarding it, and even showed themselves, there must be a reason. She would organize to move the children from the orphanage away from the walls to a safer place. Lu was surprised at what she said. Qing told them to make it look like there's a reconstruction going on and for him to prepare the proper paperwork for all of this. Also to forcibly relocate all the residents of the second guide city from Zone C3 to A4, and pay special attention to where you can put the Blood Moon School. Put it in the best place possible. Lu asked her, but what about the rental fee? Ching said that of course they would have to pay rent since everything is done by the rules. Ching realized that the people outside the walls had been targeting the shelter all along. The destruction of the orphanage, the strong mutant that came out of nowhere behind the story of the explosion of the Blood Moon orphanage. Something is definitely behind it. Ching told Lu that from today, they are starting a city-wide investigation and cleanup. All members of the research department are cancelled, and they need to be on call, including Lu. Which means he's gonna need. The principal asked Lu if he wanted to take time off. Lu said it wouldn't be for long. His little sister is sick and there is no one to take care of her. The principal said family is sacred, he understands. And then he was glad that Lu was finally leaving. He heard that after the incident with Lu Xuan's transportation company, the police took him away, but from the looks of it, he is fine. However, after that day, he's been walking around with a gun every day. Lu told the principal that as soon as his sister got better, he would go right back to work. The principal told him not to worry. He would give him as many days as he needed. 3 days later, Lu was eating lunch at the guard post at the training center. Lu did nothing while on alert, and he eats a hearty meal every day. Plus he gets paid $200 a day for necessities. But then Han told the Wanderer there was a job for him. Lu finished his wings and said he understood. Han said the incident came to light after a Guangdong resident approached her. The woman claimed that someone was following her. Police accepted the request but found no evidence of stalking. But this is only at first glance. The investigation revealed that it was not only the woman who filed the report, but all residents of Zone C in Guangdong were on high alert. All of them were gripped by fear, and some even began to hallucinate. They claimed to be followed by many eyes wherever they went. 2 to 3 days after the incident, due to increased stress, 2 residents got into an argument. A fight broke out and a knife was used. One of them was killed and the other was sent to the Forbidden Lands. Following the examination, the police station submitted an investigation report. During the examination by the research team, it was confirmed that there were hints of misrepresentation. However, there was a snag in the investigation. Lu asked what the snag was. Zan said because of the feeling of fear pressing down on them. And then Lu headed to Guangdong. The guy told the Wanderer that he was Chen, the head of the research department of the second guide city at his service. Lu asked if he was pulled from his day off too. Chen said that because of the in-depth investigation throughout the city, he wasn't the only one who was yanked out. He hadn't been able to thank him properly last time. But who would have thought that his savior would be in charge of this mission? Lu said it was part of his job. What is the general situation right now? Chen said that they are currently near the building. There is a strong emission of distortion energy coming from inside. Their initial objective was to enter the building to investigate and locate the source of the distortion, but they failed in the process. Failure? Asked Lu. Chen said yes. Once on the 9 to 12 floors of the building, an inexplicable feeling of fear came over them, and the closer they got to the supposed source of the distortion, the greater the fear became. At one point they almost lost consciousness. Lu asked Han why it was suddenly like that. Han said that it could very well be due to the effects of distortion 072, which distorts people's emotions and increases feelings of fear. She suggests locating the source of the misrepresentation, investigating the nature of the misrepresentation, and then deciding whether the building should be cleaned or sealed. Lu said okay, he'll go in and look around. And then Lu went up to the 6th floor. But even so, his gut was screaming that this place was dangerous. Han said that the closer the source of the distortion, the more intense the psychic impact will be. If he realizes that he can handle the strain, he can safely retreat. Lu told her not to worry. He was used to tacos by now. And then he said, "What is it?" And then he saw 17, who told Lu he was talking to that girl. He didn't even wait for her, and walked silently into the dangerous place. Lu took 17 in his hands and said she was the one getting it. Han asked the Wanderer what was wrong with him. Did a problem appear? Lu told Han that it was nothing serious. Everything was fine. Lu told his little sister that he suddenly felt better. Lu said the pressure on the 10th floor is extremely severe. He is now going up to the 11th floor to thoroughly probe and confirm which apartment is the source of the distortion. And then getting to 1031 apartment, Lu felt something and said he thought the distortion was right here. Lu wondered how they could unblock the passage. and then 17 broke the passage with her hand, and Lu said she was good. Lu opened the door and smelled the odor, and asked what is that stench. And then he saw the dead two bodies. Lu said, so that's the source of the distortion? And then 17 asked if she could go in there. Lu said not this time. Lu wondered if he could communicate with him. And then he walked over to the corpse and said he was reporting. He had found the source of the distortion. Lu turned on the lights in the room so he could see the whole room more extensively. And the sources of the distortion. Lu said he also discovered the corpse of a young man. Apparently, he had tried to take some kind of medicine before he died. Han said she found Kwandong, Zana C, apartment 1004, male name Wang Chu, 23 years old, worked in a factory. Lives alone, no relatives, no criminal record. Any leads? Lu said he found nitroglycerin pills. Han asked, is this medicine for a heart attack? It's quite possible that he had a heart attack but couldn't take the medicine in time. However, an autopsy would have to be performed to confirm everything. Lu asked her how they should proceed. Han said that the body would have to be placed in a special bag to protect the others from contamination, and then a support team would come to pick it up. Lu did everything himself, and took the medicine with him. He told the support team to move out. Lu asked if there was any guess as to how the distortion could have appeared. Khan said that the young man had been alone all his life, no family, no friends, and had died alone due to a sudden heart attack without taking his medicine in time. His extreme emotional state before his death likely caused his body to mutate, and that's it. Since he hadn't originally planned to cause any harm, he simply formed a source of level D distortion. And besides, he died quickly, so the degree of contamination spread slowly. Lu asked, was that the only reason he stayed in their world? Han said probably also because he was scared. It was the fear of having no one to take care of him before he died. Lu said that's how it is. It's good to have someone to take care of him. Lu asked Han, are they done? He hoped there would be no more distortion incidents like this one. Han said that there was a contradictory feeling about such cases. Even in his voice, she could hear the change in his mood. Lu said he wouldn't say that, since he doesn't like the distortions anyway. But since he was being paid for his work, he wouldn't just give up. Wang Chu must have hoped that he would be found before it was too late. Han said she was of the same opinion. The administration is introducing more and more methods to help ease people's mental burden. Let's hope that incidents like this will happen less and less often. Lu said he hoped so. And what about the pay for the job? Han told him not to worry, she'd already made the arrangements. From now on, she will be petitioning for all his subsidies, base salary and overtime paid to be transferred to his account faster. 17 said to Lu, why don't they meet and thank each other tonight? Is he that interested in her? Lu asked her what she was talking about. They're co-workers. 17 told him how he didn't realize that all the girls in the main city were spoiled. They may look like fairies, but inside they are real demons. Besides, they're not a fan of using toilet paper. Lu asked her what she was getting at. And then a car drove up to them, and the guy said to Mr. Xiao, here is that man, a lonely wanderer. Xiao asked if he was the one who could see spirit beings. But he had heard that there was a high probability that he could go into a frenzy. The guy said that based on the data he's collected, the chance of that happening is extremely slim. And at the moment, he was the only one who could solve his problem. Xiao says the guy is right, and he has no other choice. However, this is a personal errand, so he'll have to make sure the cleaning department doesn't find out about it. The guy said there's no question, Xiao can rely on him. Then they'll start tomorrow. Since her condition is unstable, Lu considered that the bonus from the last 3 missions plus the food surcharge minus the last expenses, he currently had 60,070 yuan. It would be nice to have that kind of income every month. That way, in a year we could save up for a building for a shelter in the center of town. He is sad that there is no job in his future. But then someone said, isn't that Soldier Lawn? Let me introduce myself. His last name is Lu. He runs a consulting company in the main city. The senior instructed him to meet with him. He could use his help with something. Lu asked him how they knew about him. Lu said that it was his job. He found many capable people in Xin City. Lu said for Lu to listen to him. This old man's daughter is suffering from some strange disease. Even the doctors of the main town can't deal with her. He hopes that Lu can examine her. This is not a formal request, but a private request. Lu said, so it's a private unofficial order? Is it even legal? Lu said that as far as he knows, the able-bodied in Qin have such part-time jobs. This man has some weight even in the main city. But it's best if he doesn't take this matter to the extermination forces. They can still report it to their superiors, but please make it clear that this is a private collaboration. Lu said if Lu can cope with the disease, the old man promises 100,000 yuan. And even if he fails, he will still be paid 10,000. Lu thought he heard 100,000 yuan. Lu said to Lu, why so hard, he's going to break his arm. Lu said why would he do that, wait. He'll talk to his superiors. But then he got in the car and they drove off. On the way he thought, why are there so many couples on the street lately? And they all had roses. But then Lu said that they had arrived at the place. When he entered the house, he saw a very beautiful apartment and the furnishings of the house. Lu thought it would be great if they were able to move the shelter here. Lu asked how much a house like this with this square footage cost. Lu said someone was going to pay 5 million for it, but the old gentleman flatly refused to sell the house. And then he said, here's their contract. Lu realized that he still has a lot of work to do before he can buy a new house. And he doesn't know yet if he will get 100,000 yuan. After reading the treaty, Lu remembered what Han had said. That the High Council was not against private missions, but they did not encourage such things. But they would still consider every such cooperation. At the end of the mission, he should assess all the risks and report back to them if, in his opinion, there is any chance of situations not in the plan. Even if he doesn't succeed in curing her, he'll still get 10,000. Good thing the council doesn't mind their cooperation. Lei said he will not be involved in conversations that don't involve the treatment process. So he will leave with the treatment team. The man sat down in the chair and said, so he's the soldier Lun. Lu said he was very pleased to meet him. Lu said, this container? The man said his daughter is inside. Her name is Xiao, she is 21, and just graduated from university in the main city. She has a degree in art history. 3 months ago, the man she was in a great relationship with proposed to her, but she suddenly lost her mind. He has sought help from many specialists, but the root of the problem has not been found. He has no choice but to assume that she was infected. Lu said he cares for her so much, yet he doesn't send her to the Contamination Research Center. The man said that it might not be so obvious to him, but if the news of Xiao being infected spreads, her reputation will suffer a lot. Now the symptoms. Lu said, what about them? And then he opened the container door and said, that's what her symptoms are. It's an irresistible animal lust for intercourse, so. Lu said it was very serious. The man told Lu to try to understand. He didn't want to go into details. A brief explanation is all he can give. He found out about her affair with one of the employees. He fired him and reprimanded her. She was still normal at the time, but soon she lost her mind and got involved with a bunch of different people in the pub. The man asked Lu if he had any thoughts on this. Lu said that so far, he doesn't see any signs of contamination. They need to start taking action. Lu told the man if he could release his daughter for a while. The man said she'd just start lashing out at everyone. Maybe even him. Lu said it's no big deal, he has a gun with him. The man said he didn't think they would need a gun. Just then the man released her, and the girl stood on her 4 paws. Lu asked what she was trying to do, and then she jumped him. And the man told Lu to be careful. So Lu grabbed her and put her on the ground. But then 17 came in and told Lu to look at it. And then Lu ripped open her shirt and saw the contamination. The man asked Lu what was going on. But Lu stopped him with his hand and told him not to move again. And in that moment, all the rot came out. Lu saw them and said they were all so nervous. And then 17 started snatching them up and saying it was fun. Lu said those things even know how to get out of it. Just then, the girl turned around and started calling out to Lu. The man was saying, what's going on? It's like they're coming back to life? Lu said, from what's going on here, she's really infected. But my sister's gonna have a lot of fun this time. Looks like he won't be needing his help. And then she told Lu that the tentacles were gone. Lu said, something was wrong, there were so many of them, they wouldn't even play with their little sister. What kind of brother is he if he let him treat his sister like that? Lu realized that, theoretically, it was physically impossible to eliminate the problem. Every infestation needed a special approach. In a moment, Lu pulled out his gun, and all the tentacles went straight for the girl's body, scaring nothing. Lu pointed a gun at her, and said that she was still the problem. And then the monster came out, and 17 said she was having a lot of fun. 17 would not deny herself, and with her sharp teeth she bit this monster. But then the monster tried to go back in, but 17 hugged and squeezed him so tightly that he said he wouldn't let go. Lu said, "Why is that little thing always shoving everything in its mouth?" And then 17 just stood there enjoying the monster. The man asked what happened to Xiao. "Is she alive?" Lu said that he couldn't tell if she was alive yet, but the contagion was almost certainly over. And then Xiao opened her eyes, and called the man daddy. The man asked her how she was. "Does she recognize him?" Xiao said this is a joke. Let Lu leave quickly first. Lu said he would go out for a promenade. And then the man thanked him. 17 told Lu that they were talking about an oil painting. It was encased in a simple wooden frame and covered with a piece of black cloth. Xiao said, when she arrived at the deal, all the kidnappers were already dead. Looks like they got into a fight and shot each other. The painting was still there, even though it was not on the list originally received from the kidnappers. They now want to hold on to the painting for further investigation. Lu said oil painting? Could she be the source of the contagion? Thought he pondered with his head. The man told Lu that her daughter is now completely healthy thanks to him, but she is still weak. He wants to take her to the main city, she'll be better there, and as for the reward, Lu said it's too early to talk about the reward. The source of the infection still hasn't been eliminated, which means the problem remains unsolved. Doesn't the contract say that he will only get the money after Xiao is fully healed? The man tells Lu that her daughter is perfectly fine, he'll get his reward and even double the amount in gratitude for his care. But he wants them to call it a day. 17 said they wanted to get to Ban Harbor faster, and he was just in their way now. The man told Xiao to call the main city and make an appointment, as Mr. Lu was not happy with his reward. Lu realized that it looked like they were trying to take the blame for what had happened. If something happens, other people will suffer besides them. Lu said that he just wanted to get rid of the infection once and for all, but 200,000 would be more than enough. Xiao said so even he doesn't think that if they are from the main city, they don't know anything about his tricks. He realizes that even if she shoots him right now, there's no way the court will find her guilty, right? Just then, 17 swooped down on her and broke her weapon. Xiao shouted that she was in a lot of pain and her arm hurt. The man said, "Lu, how dare he do that? And how dare he do that? Even if he's from the department, that doesn't give him the right to maim his daughter." Lu said that she was actually the one who started threatening him, even though he did everything he could to help her. And then, someone fired a bullet at him, right through Lu's head. And then 17 helped him, and he ducked saying they should watch themselves. Lu headed toward the gunman and found him. The guy asked Lu, "Is he even human?" But Lu wouldn't talk to him, and pushed him to the ground. And then he saw the men and told his little sister there were more. But then 17 seized the man, and he said he couldn't control himself. A man led by 17, killed all his guys and at the end pointed a gun at himself, and yelled no. But 17 shot him with the help into himself. But then 17 saw a bunch of blood and regretted it. Lu stroked her, and said it was okay. Lu told Lu, if he is not satisfied with something, they are willing to discuss it. Mr. Su is a respectable man, they should handle the matter reasonably. Swinging fists is irrational, Lu said, and wasn't he trying to talk sense into them all? Xiao was the one who pulled a gun on him. They should be on equal footing. He didn't use his powers to gain superiority over her, and she doesn't use her position. Did he say something wrong? The man said Lu. Did he really think he could ignore the law just because he worked for the department? Lu said he had no idea. He just wants to keep them alive. No matter what painting they're hiding, they're still not going to make it. And if something does happen, he won't be the only one affected. The man asked Lu how he knew about the painting. Lu said it didn't matter. His partnership with him has nothing to do with the department. However, his real job is to get rid of the contagion, and according to the rules, he can't let them hide the contaminant, so he has to inform his superiors. And since he's already refused to cooperate, he's not the one who broke their contract. Lu called Commander Chun and told him that he had taken a private order and successfully dealt with the infected. But he just found out about the painting. Just then, Chin came on the scene and asked where the painting was. The man told her that he knows her department has huge powers. But they still owe him an apology. Look at what her subordinate did, Chin told Mr. Su. She has evaluated his progress and sees no problems. He can file a complaint if he is not satisfied with something. And the senior counsel will decide on the matter. And since no mistakes were made on Lu's part, let's move on to him. She knows he's been hiring people to kidnap and transport various valuables through his territory. But now he's crossing all the lines. It is now necessary for him to take them to the location of the painting and accept the charges against them. Anyone who breaks the rules will pay the price. And that goes for all the people of Qin. After arriving at Banbuchun Harbor, she told Mr. Su to tell her everything and not even try to hide anything. He knows very well that she has different methods to get him to talk. Su said he temporarily hired people to look for any valuable art objects in abandoned neighborhoods. 2 months ago, he received a report that he had found something amazing. He was very busy back then, so he instructed Xiao to handle the transaction. Who knew that the contagion had developed soon after her return? Qin said it was good if that didn't happen, that the painting would have made it to the main city. Qin said it was Ms. Shue's turn. Let her spill everything she knows, and immediately. Ms. said that when she arrived at the camp, everyone was already dead. And it looked like their deaths had been painful. Everyone had multiple bullet holes. The shooter was their supervisor, but he was also dead. Shot through the chin with a pistol. She had no idea what had happened, but everything was in place. Also, there was something else there that they hadn't mentioned before. It was so beautiful, she wanted to keep it, and not say anything to her father. So she did. It gave her so much pleasure that she could not help sharing it with anyone. The desire became so strong that she could no longer resist. She called Chang, who was on night shift at the time, to her room, and when she woke up, the feeling of emptiness that drove her crazy was gone. But the feeling was so wonderful, she wanted it to go away. Su said that he knew the contagion existed, but he didn't think it was that serious. Qin said it didn't bother him until he encountered it himself. In the end, his greed played into their hands. Qin said she had heard enough. The two of them could leave the car. They would be escorted to headquarters for further investigation. She told Lu that he had done a good job. Let the first case go back to headquarters and get the painting to the lab. Lu asked what was wrong with that painting. He thought that only humans could become polluters. Qin said what she thought it was almost like in yesterday's case 072. Certain objects can have power concentrated in them, just like dead people. Earlier studies have shown that power can be encapsulated in a certain object. They call them parasitic physical objects, and they have developed several new weapons specifically for such cases. Qin said that Lu would have to learn to drive some more because he would be driving next time. Lu thought it would be better to drive without his sister's help. And then Qin said, how come there's such a traffic jam? And there's a girl telling a guy to marry her. She wants to be by his side. The guy said she's out of her mind? Why the fuck is she in the middle of the road? Besides, she's the one who dumped him and cheated on him with so many people. Just go home already. The girl said that she just realized that she always loved him. She's already left everyone else, now she wants to be with him till the end. Isn't that what he wants? Why is he saying no to her now? The guy said she thinks she can get into a relationship and dump people whenever she wants without regard for their feelings? Let her look at herself, she's crazy. The girl said it's because she loves him. She loves him so much, why can't he love her back? And then she kissed the guy and told him she loved him and wanted to be with him forever. So she's gonna have to eat him. And then she killed her boyfriend and infected everyone else who was near her on the bridge. Lu asked what was going on out there. Qin said it was a pollutant release. And then she told them to retreat immediately. And then Qin made the decision that they needed to get out of there, and told Lu to hold on tight. Lu asked, are they going to go through them? Qin said that was it, there were no other options. And then she started to cut off the road and go around the pollution. Qin reported an unexpected release of contagion on the Zhe Highway in the second city. Send in the task force and fighters. But at that moment a man with a grenade launcher was aiming at them, and then 17 told Lu to save himself. But then he didn't have time to react and they were blown up, 17 walked up to Lu and said she would help him. But then Lu said about the painting and asked the man, who was he? Qin ran? And then the man smiled. Lu saw him and said, shouldn't he be in the vault? Or maybe it's a different Qin ran? Chen asked Lu how he was. And can he move? Lu said he was fine. 17 took his hand and said that little brother was hurt. 17 told him not to cry. If he had more wounds, this one would be more not as bad. Chen asked Lu if he had seen the special pollutant 041. But then 17 saw where he ran to and said he was there. But then Chen said that they were M163 machine guns, and if they didn't take cover, they would part with their lives here and today. Lu put his body up against the bullets and then his mother came in. She said, didn't he promise to keep himself safe? How did he get himself into this again? But then Chen stood up and was surprised to say that it was a physical shield, incarnate. But how is that possible? Chen thought, how much strength must there be to be capable of such a thing? The Red Moon boarding house had been destroyed by the exact same force. Chen told Lu that they have a powerful weapon in their hands. Use it, and you can sweep away anything that gets in their way. Chen said that with that kind of power, don't they feel like the rulers of the world? But there's only one ruler of this universe. Why don't they compete with each other if they're so proud of theirs? The guy said she was right. He's the real master of the world. Lu said it's the all-controllers. Lu was told by his mother that he had been hurt again. Lu said yes, he almost died. Chen said for people to close the second city for quarantine, the painting taken from the harbor band stolen. It looks like they're being confronted by heavily armed suburban gangsters. She thinks they've been planning this for a long time. And then there's this release of their Red Rose contagion on the road. Also out of control. Chen told them to put out a first-degree alarm in the second city. But then there was an alarm in the city and all the people gathered. They asked what was going on. Han said a first-degree alert was issued. Chen said that not far from their location, in the second city, there were still a few more emissions. Because of the lack of any kind of control, they spread like wildfire. Everyone has a threat level above C. Chen looked at Lu and wondered what was wrong with him. And then his mother saw and asked him, what is he going to do now? Lu said he was thinking about it too. His mother said it was an abusive man who stole his painting and almost killed him and his sister. And then just walked away. She's sure he's still laughing at the two of them. His mother told him to look at his sister, how scared she was. But then Lu realized that his sister was afraid of him. But then Chen said to Lu, was he listening to her? Chen saw that there was a dangerous energy coming from him. Was it really because he had spent all his energy on that shield? We have to keep talking to him. Chen said that the whole city is now in danger because of a special pollutant. Cao Tao Lu, is he still capable of failing the mission? Lu asked her what she meant. What do you mean the whole city? Chen said there have been at least 4 major outbreaks of mind-bending infestations. And they're still spreading. Now everyone in City 2 is in danger. They've enforced the first-degree endangerment protocol. Lu ran away and told her to tell him everything on the phone. But then Chen was surprised that he came to his senses and ran to fight. On the way out, the guy was yelling and asking for help. Lu saw him as the motorcycle lay on top of the guy and helped him with it. The guy asked, did he just steal his bike? But Lu didn't have to wait, and then his little sister got in the way. Chen said that the contagion on the Zhe road keeps spreading. Tai said they suspect it has something to do with the girl who proposed. Those infected begin to feel an irresistible attraction to their lovers, which develops into an obsession. So much so that they're starting to literally devour them, said Bean. You will now pass the next 2 orders to all supervisory teams. First, detain anyone who is acting suspiciously or showing signs of a disturbed mind. If they get a person who wants to meet their partner, and you can't talk them out of it, they can kill them. Second, inform everyone through the media to lock themselves in their homes and not come out. Let them not even think about seeing their relatives, much less their partners. Applies to homosexuals too. The safety of the second city depends on how they all do on this mission. And at that moment, Lu was on his way to the city to exterminate all those creatures. That night there was something terrible going on in the city. There was a lot of blood. Couples in love just devoured each other, to the point of bloodshed. The patrol said they had to hold the roadblock on the main road. Otto will be the end of it all tonight. Lu said they're in place. The shelter had been moved here. Lu hoped that at least they were intact. Just then, Lu headed toward the soldiers who were near the shelter. 17 watched and wondered what her brother was talking about. Lu asked them how they were doing. And what's going on? The guy said everything's fine. No one's infected. Commander Chen instructed them to stay here in case the situation in the city gets worse. We had to move here, closer to headquarters. Lu realized that Chen had even taken the place into account. The guy told Lu, "It looks like he lost his walkie-talkie. Here's the camera and sensor here too." But then he put on his earpiece and heard that the research team was ready. "What about you?" Lu said he was ready, too. Han said fine and ordered the soldier Lun to report his status. Lu said his status he is free. Han said no, it's about his physical condition. Can he go on the mission? Lu said the wound on his left leg is almost gone. It's nothing serious. Han said that they had received reports of 4 contamination outbreaks in the second city. In addition, it seems that the first and fifth cities have also seen cases of mental confusion. HQ has sent special teams into the city. At this point, they need to stabilize the situation. Lu said he accepted, and what should he do? Han told him to go to the community mall immediately and stop the spread of the contagion in his neighborhood. The boy told Soldier Lun that he had forgotten his motorcycle. Lu said he didn't need it anymore. Xinjing saved those dear to him, and he will no doubt do the same for her. Lu threw the candy in the air and told his little sister that it was time for them to go save the world. 17 grabbed him and said they were going. The guy told the soldier Luong that the safety of the people of Qin depended on him. Lu asked how their situation was. Han said that a couple's quarrel was the trigger for the release of contagion and insanity. A man saw his wife saying hello to another man and went crazy. When he realized what he had done, he threw himself after her. Han said that a large number of witnesses had a surge of emotion, poisoning the certain presence of mutations in the body. Judging from the general atmosphere, it was indeed another case of mind-boggling. Lu said a man committed suicide after pushing his wife down from the 3rd floor because she talked to someone else. Han said that Commander Qing just sent her preliminary research report on what happened on Zhu Road. It's very similar to the incident at the community mall. We should compare results. Lu asked Han, are those red roses? And so many couples on the streets. Does it have something to do with Qin? Han said that during her questioning of witnesses on the road, Commander Chen found out that the spokeswoman received a bouquet of kin in the initial stages of her infection. Immediately afterward, she lost control of her emotions and quickly developed an obsession with the man who gave her those roses. Her unstable condition finally escalated into madness on Zhu Road when the infestation went to stage 2. They can't yet say if it will reach stage 3. Lu said if this happens, the concert will be the fate of the whole town. How can they prevent it? The first thing to do is to find the owner of the red roses and eliminate the sources of the infestation. Next, you will need to find all the infected to prevent further infestation. And then Lu arrived at the community mall and said he was on the spot, but it looks like the contagion is unstoppable. Han said to start by getting rid of the pollution. Look for a man with a bouquet of red roses. Lu said okay and started looking. Lu said he was inside and saw the pollutant and was surprised. Han asked Lu, did he find the pollutant? Lu said yes he did. Han said her advice is to stuff that corpse in a carrier bag and burn it. Lu said no, that won't work. Lu said it was because of the rose. It grew through the corpse. And it's not just red now, it's the color of blood. But then Lu stood next to this flower and began to feel something unbearable. The attraction of the girls to him. Lu thought it was strange, and said he couldn't be in love with everyone. But then he grabbed a root and the girls asked him to let go. Lu said something was definitely wrong with that rose, and told her little sister not to eat it. Lu said the contaminant has been removed. These don't usually cause problems. Han said great job by Lu's soldiers. Now they need to stop the contamination from spreading. But then Tai asked for someone to shut Gecko up. Lu said that's gonna be a problem. Han said the patrolmen have set up roadblocks at every intersection. As soon as the affected crowd tries to leave the cordoned-off area, they will be fired upon. They must stop the contagion at all costs. Han said for Lu to do something to redirect them in the other direction. Or just block all their exits from the building. The support group will help with the cleanup once they get the crowd situation under control. Lu knocked out one of the infected and told the men to stay away from her until the alarm stopped. Han asked the soldier Lu what he was doing. Lu said he didn't have any abilities that would allow him to control their actions. So he went the easy way. He would just break all their legs and business would be over. A couple minutes later, Lu says he's almost done with them all. Given his kicks, thinks it will heal fine. Lu said that even though he had to break his legs, he's glad he saved people's lives. 17 said to Lu, didn't he do it because he had bad luck with girls? Lu laughed and said she was wrong. Lu said they had to go, they weren't done yet. And then he saw a couple on the street, starting to kiss. Then Lu attacked them. And the guy asked him what he was doing? Lu asked them, are they not infected? The guy said, can he kiss his girlfriend goodbye when everything's going to hell? Lu told him, of course he could, just let him wash his hands. The boy asked Lu, what does he care? The guy said this dude can crawl on walls? Is he a Spider-Man? The girl said why would a Spider-Man need a pole? Maybe it's a Shaolin Spider-Man. Lu climbed the wall and asked what was going on here. Looking down he wondered what he was going to do about it. Han told Lu to report the situation. Lu said, what looks like everyone has abruptly calmed down is very strange. They're all heading toward the skyscrapers. But then he said that someone had already climbed to the very edge. He knew he had to act fast. Lu heard the couple confess their love to each other and jumped down. Lu asked, is this some kind of love suicide?